has been a sunny, albeit windy day here in southern Ontario, but the whirlwind is about to move indoors. There is a look inside the Madison National Cycling Centre here in Milton. Night 2 here at the Tissot UCI Track Nations Cup as the countdown to Paris and the Summer Olympics edges one day closer. My name is Gavin Day, excited to be around for another night of commentary, another night of action here in Milton. There's a look outside. As I mentioned, it was a windy day. The riders in here are going to make the wind themselves. The riders are already starting to file onto the track. We move right along here with our program, a healthy mix of both sprint and endurance races. The third and final stop of the Nations Cup season. Before we get going, there is a look inside the track beforehand. The organizers here, they held a moment of silence for Canadian track sprinter Gord Singleton, a man who really put Canada's track cycling on the map, the first Canadian to ever win a World Cycling Championships. He passed away in March after prostate cancer, so he is in the thoughts of Canadian cyclists today. And there are the specs for here at the National Cycling Centre, 250 meters, the length of the track, as you can imagine. And it is already a scene of plenty of action. We had another day of morning action this morning to try to qualify for the women's Madison, the men's Omnium, a whole raft of individual sprint for women and keirin for men qualifiers. And there is a look at our program for the evening. We jump right into it with the Omnium, the scratch race, and those endurance races will be peppered in throughout the evening's program. Starts with the scratch, and the evening's program ends with the Omnium points race. And then, as you can see there, the women's Madison, the men's keirin, and the women's individual sprint. That one, we're already down to the final 4. And so, as I've said before, if you are familiar with our Nations Cup program, it's pretty much the same everywhere we go. Last month was Hong Kong, the previous month in Adelaide. Race number 1 of the 4-race Omnium coming up in just a few moments. Plenty of talent on display. And there is the start list. You look down at number 8, Dylan Bibic, the Canadian at home, winning yesterday's elimination race. Benjamin Thomas from France, another one to look out for. The great Elia Viviani of Italy. Yuri Leitao of Portugal, the current world champion. And so, who will get off to the fast start? Of course, there is always the chance for the unexpected. There could be someone who puts in the scratch race of their lives, and that just sets them off. There is a look at Viviani, the 35-year-old from the province of Verona, Isola della Scala. Of course, one of the greats on the road. There is Dylan Bibic, the Endurance Champions League winner from last fall. That great, relatively new addition to the track cycling calendar, the Champions League. Certainly a supremely confident young man, the 20-year-old. He has promised so much potential. Jan Willem van Schip of the Netherlands, as the Dutch in the instantly recognizable Oranje kit after going for a bit of a white number, as was well publicized in the world of cycling. Is a look at the European champion from France. Oh, pardon me, the European champion is not from France. I've messed that up. He is at the front of the race, number 20. It's Ethan Hayter of Great Britain. Imagine my embarrassment confusing a man from Great Britain with a man from France. Either way, now I've got it sorted. It is Ethan Hayter, the European champion, leading the way around. Now, for those of you unfamiliar, the scratch race is as straightforward as it comes in endurance cycling. After 40 laps, 10 kilometers, whoever is first to the line wins. And so no sprint points, none of the other elimination stuff that we will see. It's all just a straight race to the line. It doesn't mean it's not without its own tactics. It's not just going to be all these riders going around in circles for 40 laps and saving up for a sprint. There will be certain riders trying to see what they can do, going on the attacks, pulling off some surprises. There is a look at Yuri Leitao, the defending world champion from Portugal, winning it last year in Glasgow. The Asian champion is also out there, Aya Hashimoto of Japan. And so, as I mentioned, right off the hop, there is an attack. It is Carbajal, or Arango, pardon me, of Colombia. Seeing if anyone's going to follow him, it is a rider from Hungary chasing. That's Bertold Driver. And so a lot of looking around in the early going. It looks like Bibic, the Canadian, is leading the chase. Bibic is a former world scratch race champion in 2022. It was his world championship debut and the first ever Canadian to win gold in that event. Certainly a humbling experience. His next race, or one of his later races, was in the elimination, and he finished 24th and last in the field. So certainly plenty of lessons from that for the young Canadian, but he's now drifting a little back, and nobody really taking up the chase. It is Arango in front, and very short turns as the riders are really looking amongst themselves. Akil Campbell of Trinidad and Tobago taking a quick pull. Ramis Dinmukamatov of Kazakhstan, another short turn. And it is Tim Thorn-Teutenberg representing Germany this time around. Roger Kluge of the main German, the German veteran, is not here in Milton this weekend, but Teutenberg, one of the youngsters in the German program, one to watch on the road as well. Like many, he also rides on the road. And it is Ethan Hayter. Speaking of men who race on the road, Ethan Hayter, the European champion from Great Britain, taking a very brief turn on the front. Grenadiers side. It's Tim Waffler now of Austria at the front, but just very, very quick little pulls. It is strung out. When the field is really strung out like that, you know there is some pace in the field. And it's Arango really starting to close in now. So while the tempo is up, the chase does not appear organized. Now there's a lot of looking around at the front. When riders are going up on the track, they go really up high. There's a slackening of the chase, and it looks like Arango may pick up a lap here. And the advantage is for him, of course. When you're on a lap, he can just sit and watch and see who launches the next attack, because when everybody else gets the bell, as things stand right now, he will pick up the victory. And the fans here in Milton acknowledging the effort. Certainly didn't really surprise the field. It was very much a slow burn attack. We're already 15 laps into the race. Often you see when riders pick up laps, they launch a hard and quick, almost surprise attack and quickly make up half a lap and then are able to finish it off. That took a while. It took almost half the race. Kudos to him for seeing that one through, and now he is in pole position. He just sort of sit on the back, recover some of that energy that he lost, and see who else will join him. And there is a new attack launched. Bernard Benjamin van Aert of Indonesia launching the attack now. This one, they're still within sight. He hasn't gotten away just yet. Certainly with a name like Van Aert, puts himself in good company. Very much a cycling name. And it is Benjamin Thomas leading the charge, and he is pushing on. He has some power with him. Campbell of Trinidad and Tobago, Elia Viviani of Italy, Eya Hashimoto, who rides for the trade team Bridgestone Cycling. And it is Ethan Hayter not letting this one go, not a chance. Although Thomas, persistent, trying again. He now has a bit on the field. And the organization with Teutenberg, Van Schip, Juri Leitao now watching things here. And it is still Benjamin Thomas leading the way, but they are managing that attack. And he rides for Cofidis out on the road, and it's Ethan Hayter pulling things back, leading the charge, and there's a very strung out field, as you can see there. Good shot of it, as it's all hands to the pumps really to close down that attack, and job done. But before you could really draw breath, there was a semi-attack there. Not really much doing, though. And it's Tim Waffler, one of a trio of cyclists. He has two continental champions with him. Waffler, the man from Kitzbühel, really known more for its skiing. The American Grant Kuntz trying to join things up. All this to say, the man who's really benefiting from this is Juan Esteban Arango of Colombia, because nobody's able to make up that lap. So as things stand, he stands to win this scratch race and get off to an absolute flying start here in the men's Omnium. Finished 15th in Hong Kong, China last month. Veteran cyclist, to be sure. 37 years old. And he's currently near the back, but he's sitting nicely in a draft. And Jan Willem van Schip of the Netherlands leading things around. Juri Leitao. Will they let him go? He's certainly trying. And Schip really the only one going with him. It's Hayter and Waffler leading things around. Viviani, the only returning member of the podium from the last Olympic Games in Tokyo. He picked up a bronze medal behind Campbell Stewart. Not a real big New Zealand contingent here in Milton this weekend. And Matthew Walls, of course, the Brit winning gold. And now they've formed up once again. And the rider from Algeria, Yassine Chalel, has been dropped off the back with 6 laps to go. So at the moment, all the chips are falling for Juan Esteban Arango. Went on the attack early, took him almost half the race to make up the lap. And since then, nobody's attacks have been successful. Down to 5 laps to go. And it's very much a compact group, but Leitao tries to go again. Hayter leading the chase. Kazushige Kuboki of Japan also there. Man in the Rising Sun kit. Japan has a sprinkling of trade teams here as well, in addition to their national team. So it is Kazushige Kuboki, second wheel behind Hayter as they chase down Leitao. And I think a lot of riders are just kind of consolidating, settling in for a sprint finish. The catch of Leitao is just about at hand as we see 2 laps to go. All the big names you might expect are getting positioned at the right place. Leitao is drifting back. I think he's just left too much. He went too much too early. It's Turdens, the name I have not said all day, of Belgium. But here comes Dylan Bibic of Canada. Right behind him, Ethan Hayter. Kazushige Kuboki coming up for third, and Bibic makes the move on the outside round the final turn. It is Bibic leading Turdens, and it's going to be Kuboki. Kazushige Kuboki winning the pack sprint, but that will get him second place because, of course, Juan Esteban Arango will pick up the victory. As all the other riders set up for the sprint, he knew he was secure in his victory. Very much an opportunist win, and a very solid effort from that man right there. Canadian, the 20-year-old, got the home fans there on their feet. Just nipped at the line there. He comes in third in the scratch race. And so that is event number one of the men's Omnium. Still to come, the tempo race. Acknowledgement of our, that's not your late town winner. There it is, Arango, our winner, pardon me. And so the tempo race still to come. The elimination race, there it is, Juan Esteban Arango. Off and running, we're getting maximum points. After the elimination comes the points race. So the first three races, your overall finish gives you a set number of points. And then in the points race, any points earned in that final race, that actually goes to your overall standing. So that's race number one. And as I mentioned, it wasn't long until Arango went on the attack. And he persisted, he stuck to it, and then he made up that lap. About 25 laps to go. He latched back on and put himself in a very comfortable position. And then once the sprint happens, he did not need to take part. He could sit up and just take the victory.
Next racing on the track, we're going to go to the sprint. So let's have a little video of what the sprint is all about.
And the standings after the first race. Arango, 40 points. Kuboki on 38. Dylan Bibic of Canada, 36. And on down through the rest of the field. Getting set up now for something much, much different. It is the women's sprint semifinals. Best of three, of course. First riders are actually already on the track. There are the heats. Mathilde Gros of France and Daniela Gathiola of Mexico. A look at Gros with a world of expectation on those shoulders. Gathiola has been around, the 31-year-old. Now lives in Monterrey, part of the Mexican silver medalist in the team sprint. And they are underway. Best of three. It's Gathiola leading things out. And Gros, whose home is Aix-en-Provence down south. The story with her, she was a basketball player, and that's what she wanted to do. But someone brought a watt bike to school to test out the BMX side, and she discovered something new. She had an abundance of power in her legs, and so she took up the sport, gave up basketball, and she's already had a whole lot of international success. Former world champion in the sprint. No track stand there this time. Gathiola, who has served in the Mexican army, she knows she's going to have her best finish no matter what happens of the Nations Cup season. 24th last month, 27th the month before, and Gros goes to the front. But Gathiola With a lap and a half to go, getting right into that slipstream. And so as we come to the bell, it is Glo in the sprinter's lane. Gathiola trying to make a move on the outside. She gets right up on the shoulder, but it looks like there may be too much power in Mathilde Glo's legs, and it is going to be Glo bringing things around for the first time, and she will go up in the semifinals 1-0. So, if you watched any of last month's Nations Cup, you heard Scott McRory talking with Australian sprinter Matthew Glaetzer just about the effort that these sprinters do. And you may be asked, why do they go so slowly for that long, and then it all comes to an end right in the final few meters, really at the last lap? And it's just because every single part of their being and body is put into that compact couple hundred meters, and there's no way they can keep that going for 3 laps. So it's just an incredible concentration effort, and it can really only be done in a short period of time. But Mathilde Glo, one of the best in the world in it. Silver medal last month in Hong Kong. And second heat, Aless Andrews flying the flag for New Zealand. I believe she's the only entrant from New Zealand this month. And Hetty van der Wouw, already a gold medal this weekend, yesterday as part of the Dutch team sprint side, as they swept the men's and women's races yesterday. There's van der Wouw, the 25-year-old from Kaatsheuvel. It's down close to the border with Belgium in the province of North Brabant. Aless Andrews, 24 years old, from Christchurch in New Zealand. Andrews' story: she was born December 31st, 1999, about 15 minutes before the turn of the millennium. Originally a mountain biker, following in her mother's footsteps, and then made the switch to the track.
Yeah, you raised great points too. So there are some teams that are not here, like the Aussies are not here.
And it is still Hetty van der Wouw leading things around. Still 2 laps to go. Andrews going high, going low, seems content to just sit in the slipstream for now, but she closes things up out of the saddle. Van der Wouw, eye over the right shoulder. And now they drop the hammer. It's Van der Wouw with the sprinter's lane. Aless Andrews with an absolute shift. She just pulls ahead, but Van der Wouw has that sprinter's lane, trying to come back the inside. It is Van der Wouw and Andrews. This one will be close at the line. That is going to be a photo. Great defense of that sprinter's lane by Hetty van der Wouw. Andrews had her over the top a little bit. Van der Wouw persisted and came back, and round 1 goes to Hetty van der Wouw. Take a look at that by maybe a quarter of a wheel. Confirmation of that. Van der Wouw up 1 on Aless Andrews. Staying with the sprints. Now look at that. Always love those photo finishes. The bike throw. Van der Wouw just that little bit more. She comes to a safe stop, and the men's sprinters already on the track, but they're doing something that's a horse of a different color. It is keirin time. heat one of two. Of course, the top three move on directly to the final. All the rest go through 7th to 12th. A look at the 6th riders spanning the globe here in the first heat. From Canadian Nick Wamas, Colombia's Santiago Ramirez, Israel Mikhail Yakovlev, Jeffrey Hoogland, the great of the Netherlands, Jai Angsutasiwit of Thailand, the Aussie-born rider from Thailand, and Kwesi Brown from Trinidad and Tobago. There is Hoogland, ready a gold medal in the team sprint. If you're looking for favorites, he's certainly one to watch. The man with the kilo world record. The Journey's around, and we are underway. And if you happen to have stumbled upon this and wondering what is going on, the Journey leads them around for 3 laps, picking up speed as he goes. And then once the Journey pulls off, they release the hounds, and these men battle amongst themselves for 3 more laps. So I was just talking about the concentrated effort in the individual sprint. This is an endurance sprint. So 3 long laps of high speed. And for the first lap there, they all have to stay as they were on the start line. And now they can start to move amongst themselves a little bit. Everybody's staying in line there, though, right now. Angsutasiwit, a month ago in Hong Kong, pretty scary crash. Nicholas Paul of Trinidad had gone down right in front of him, and there was very little he could do. And Angsutasiwit went right over the wheel, landed on his back. But it is nice to see he is okay. Nicholas Paul also here as well. He will be in the second heat, and it's Angsutasiwit leading things off, but he decided not to jump just yet. He's looking. I wonder if he's pondering. Do I just keep going? Still looking over his shoulders, Yakovlev, the big, tall Israeli cyclist. And now it's the Canadian, Nick Wamas, deciding to hit the front. And about lap and a half to go. Remember, top 3 moving on to the final, but watch out for the man in orange. It's Wamas at the moment leading the way. Yakovlev coming over his right shoulder, and then it is Jeffrey Hoogland of the Netherlands, Ramirez of Colombia trying to get up there, but right now it's Wamas, Yakovlev, and Hoogland, and that looks like it's going to be how it finished. Ramirez made it close, and Ramirez might have just gotten ahead of Yakovlev. And the Canadian male sprint team already buoyed yesterday by the bronze medal in the team sprint, and actually qualified them for the Olympics in Paris. They'll have a full roster of sprinters and endurance riders. One thing we do know, Wamas did take it. They are saving the photo for 3rd place to see who goes. Ramirez is the only Colombian who qualified. Kevin Quintero, the world champion, knocked out in the repechage. So Wamas ends up being a shrewd tactical move for him to get to the front. Angsutasiwit spent a lot of time looking around and couldn't hang on, and that's when Wamas decided to go. And let's see, how does the sprint look? It's very close for 3rd there. But it is confirmed that it is Mikhail Yakovlev who will qualify. Almost identical time to the 1,000th of a second. Ramirez, unfortunately for him, in 4th. Wamas, Hoogland, and Yakovlev to race for the medals. Heat number 2. Mostly European affair. There is a mix from the Americas as well. Heat number 2. There is Wamas, who will be moving on. And the second Canadian, but riding for the National Cycling Institute Milton, the trade team, Ryan Dodek. From Czechia, Martin Czechman. Jack Carlin of Great Britain, Harry Lavrijsen of the Netherlands, Mateusz Rudik of Poland, and Nicholas Paul of Trinidad and Tobago. There's the start list. Czechman will be one to watch for. Derny hasn't started yet. A month ago in Hong Kong, I think in the semifinals too, he raced out of position 1, and he sat right behind the Derny. And when it pulled off, he had a gap, and he built a lead, and he just hung on to advance to the final. So we'll see if he tries to employ the same tactic this time, or if the world has gotten wise to his tactics. Derny is through, and we roll out. Position 2 as Nicholas Paul. I mentioned that crash a month ago. He is also the flying 200-meter world record holder, and that flying 200 meters is how they qualify for the individual sprints. So the men will get it tomorrow. The women, for the individual sprints, they had their 200-meter qualifiers this morning. And Paul has some success on this velodrome. He won the sprint last year, beating Mateusz Rudik, who, as fate would have it, is also in this race. And then he also won a bronze in the keirin behind Maximilian Dornbach and Matthew Richardson. Neither of them are here today. So Czechman right up behind the Derny. But Nicholas Paul not letting him get out of sight. Now the riders can start to move amongst themselves so long as they do not pass the Derny. And everybody just content to watch everybody else at the moment. And now the Derny is off, and Czechman, he did a little feint there. He did not try to build up that lead. Now the attack comes. It's Jack Carlin going around the European champion, Harry Lavrijsen. And Paul decides, I want to go to the front. Here comes the Canadian as well, Dodek. Paul with a gap. He is smashed it right now. At the bell, it is Nicholas Paul with a huge margin. And it is Lavrijsen going up into second. Up into third is Carlin, but Nicholas Paul, a show of force here, ahead of Lavrijsen and Carlin, I believe. Confirmation, Rudik in fourth, Dodek in fifth, and Czechman not able to pull the trick this time, but Nicholas Paul with the power.
What a great ride by Mike. Just went a little too early. Pretty fast at the end, but still nonetheless, what a great effort.
Just had that nice margin. And all the other riders were scrapping for second and third, and he got to ride off into the distance and almost sit up a little bit, or save those little bits of energy for the final. And he has a chance to at least match his podium from a year ago. Paul, Lavrijsen, and Carlin going on to the 1 through 6 final. They'll join Wamas, Hochland, and Michael Yakovlev.
How many people here tonight sitting in the stands, don't be afraid to put your hand up when I ask this question, because it is an important question, so I want to welcome you. How many people here
And
tonight
that will mean the return of the women's individual sprint.
for the first time? It's okay.
There's been first, there are the qualifiers. Wamas, Paul, Hochland, Lavrijsen, Yakovlev, and Carlin. Two men from the Netherlands, the two men who were the back end of that overpowering team sprint performance yesterday, winning by over 0.8 of a second over Great Britain. Paul, mentioned that crash a month ago. Doesn't seem the worse for wear. Pretty darn solid there. Now, race number 2 in the women's sprint. Mathilde Gros and Daniela Gaffiola. 18th in the sprint the last Olympics in Tokyo. She was 6th in the team sprint with Yuli Verdugo in Tokyo, and she actually beat her teammate Verdugo in the quarterfinals just to set up this match against Gros. And it will be a woman originally from the Pas-de-Calais up in northern France. Now living, well, she now lives in Paris, using that National Training Center, Saint-Quentin-en-Yvelines, which is the velodrome for the upcoming Olympics. But Aix-en-Provence, in that lovely part of southern France, is where she was initially spotted. She's just watching. Doesn't look like it's going to be a track stand. And when you ever hear cycling fans getting unusually excited about bikes coming to a complete stop, once you see one, it's actually quite fun. So track stand is essentially when the riders come to a complete stop. It's the ultimate game of chicken in match sprinting, when neither rider really wants to be at the front and they almost dare the other to go. But it's a real skill to get the tracks in, because you can always potentially drift backwards, and once you drift back, then the commissaires can restart things. Anyway, it's still Gros in front. Picking up the tempo now, Gros out of the saddle. Gathiola now really opening up the sprint. This is going to be a long one, more than a lap. They are shoulder to shoulder coming up to the bell. Gros still has the sprinter's lane. Gathiola on the outside now has to just duck into the slipstream and try a second time, but there is just way too much power on the front. Mathilde Gros will race for gold. A month ago, Gros went down to the reigning world champion Emma Finucane. She has a chance to move atop the podium in the final international race before the Olympics. I suppose you could say that would be a confidence builder. Opened it up very, very early. Gathiola opted to try to pass early on. Then once she was kind of beaten back, there was no second time lucky for her. But she will race for bronze. And Hedy van der Wouw will look to join it. Les Andrews will try to force the decider. Always look to see if there's a stare down amongst the riders. Van der Wouw casting her gaze downward. There's no Emma Hinze-esque ultimate stare down. So they both have the reflective visors on, so there's no eye-to-eye contact. Andrews taking a look over. Van der Wouw not returning the favor. Here we go. Andrews. I mentioned that 200-meter qualifying session this morning. Andrews qualified 7th. But of course, setting up a fast time does not necessarily mean you will win all your sprints and match sprinting easily. Once it's a head-to-head race, everything is different. Beat Lauriane Genet of Canada in the quarterfinals, did Les Andrews. Bronze medalist from Glasgow in the World Championships, Van der Wouw. Going up on the outside, will she try to dive down to take that sprinter's lane? Andrews defending. Another one with a very long sprint. Van de Waal going to try to dive down again. There is a gap she has to close, but she is chewing that one up. Eddie Van de Waal going around the outside. Andrews defending that sprinter's lane. Van de Waal trying to go around the long way, and I think Andrews takes it and forces a decider. And that's what the results say. So these two will have to do one extra little exertion. Forcing the decider. Meanwhile, Mathilde Cros and Daniela Gathiola can enjoy a little bit longer recovery. You only have so many matches to burn, and so could be crucial in the end. And with the sprinting done for the moment, go back to the Omnium. We'll look back at this race. Andrews looking over her shoulder. She was looking over the left shoulder. Van de Waal was on the right. Van de Waal trying to go on the outside, but you have that all-important sprinter's lane, and that makes all the difference in the world. You're just that much closer to the finish line. And Les Andrews, the woman in black with the fern. One more chance, and we'll go to the decider. And the tempo. Relatively recent addition to the men's Omnium, or to the Omnium in general. The women race it too. So we'll do a little explainer. There are the results. Arango, the win in the scratch race, has him a couple points ahead. Kazushige Kuboki of Japan in second. Dylan Bibick in third. Now the tempo race. Another 10-kilometer race, just like the scratch race, 40 laps. But each lap is a point, not to your overall total. It's for the standings in this race alone. The person who accumulates the most points gets maximum overall points. So a point every lap. There are 4 kind of neutral laps before we get going. So sometimes you'll see someone going on the attack early, even when points are not on the line. They are just shaping themselves up to be in a position to start picking off single points. And then, just like in other races, if you lap the field, you gain 20 points. If you are lapped, you will lose 20 points. So they will form up once again. The riders still making their way out on the track. There's the world champion, Jori Leitao. Tried a late attack to pick up second place, and in the end he was caught, and he'd used up a good chunk of energy, so a lot of his rivals went by him. There's our leader. Arango, pardon me. Arango was 13th here last year at the World Championships in Glasgow. He just did the points race and the individual pursuit. So by virtue of winning that race, it's like a auto racing qualifying position. Since he won, he gets that pole position on the fence right at the start line. But the Sharks are behind him. Last time Arango did an Omnium at a World Championships was 2022. He was 18th, and that was at the Olympic Velodrome at Saint-Quentin-en-Yvelines. However, he does have a bronze medal in the Omnium when Colombia in Cali hosted a Nations Cup event. Anyway. Kazushige Kuboki from Japan, starting essentially outside row 1. Two Dens. There is Aya Hashimoto of Japan, riding for Bridgestone Cycling. Hashimoto, 30-year-old from Gifu, which is southwest of Tokyo on the main island of Honshu. There's Tim Voffler, as I mentioned earlier. He is from Kitzbühel. So how this will go. They'll form up. Commissaire will fire the gun when everyone's in the right, well, when everyone's formed up essentially in the position they want. There we are. And so now no points will be on offer for the first few laps. So we await to see if anyone launches an attack in this period of, well, relative détente. And Benjamin Thomas taking a speculative look. Alex Vogel of Switzerland on his shoulder. Thomas, you saw him flick of the arm. He wanted Vogel to take a pull, but Vogel didn't really want to. And it's Grant Coutts now of the United States. He is the one on the go. 30-year-old from Houston, Texas. And this one they may let go. United States national Omnium champion in 2022. Also won the scratch race and the points race. Scratch race Pan American champion in 2022 as well. And well, he's flying right now. And so there is the bell. So this will be for the first points. And I think he's also eyeing a potential lap here, because he has already made up about 3/4 of a lap on the field. And so there's a point. The first going to Grant Coutts, but he has the back of the main field in sight. Elia Viviani leading the front of the peloton, which has already become fractured. And so sometimes they launch those attacks just to pick up a few laps and then are quickly swept up by the field. But this could be a couple single points and then culminating in 20 for Mr. Coutts. And I think that catch is about to be made so quickly. He gets 3 points, and then he gets 20 points. So he is the leader in this tempo race right now. And Benjamin Thomas of France now picking it up. And his shadow still, Alex Vogel of Switzerland. Confirmation. Coutts gains the lap, and it's Ethan Hayter of Great Britain on the front right now, with Bernard van Aert of Indonesia now taking a pull. Thomas right there. Benjamin Thomas, silver medalist at the World Championships in the Omnium, to Yuri Leitao. The Canadian Bibic trying to bridge to that lead group. It's Thomas leading about 7 cyclists. Included in there, Ethan Hayter, the European champion, Aya Hashimoto, the Asian champion. And Bibic is closing. He's pulling a number of cyclists with him. So some riders are struggling to get back on, as it's Tim Thorn-Teutenberg now giving way to Ethan Hayter, seeing who can stick with him. He has Thomas coming. He has Hashimoto also right there, and Bibic, as this main field is just getting splintered. And we keep an eye on our commissaire there at the start-finish line. Every lap he indicates who is picking up the points. And at the moment, it is Kuntz on 23, Thomas on 3, Hayter on 3. One is going to Hashimoto, his first point of the day. And there are now several riders potentially in danger of losing 20 points. Because it's always, the commissaires have to decide where is the main peloton, and I think that is right there. That look with Dylan Bibick leading the way, because it's about 4 or 5 cyclists drifting off the back. And Bibick now getting the point there. 22 laps to go. Thomas off on another flyer. Another one. But the man who picked up 20 early, potentially paying for that effort, Grant Kuntz. He is with about 6 cyclists or 5 other cyclists in danger of losing 20. Hayter is finishing things off. He is about to get 3 cyclists there. The rider from Indonesia, Bernard van Aert, also, I believe, about to drop 20. Jan Willem van Schip of the Netherlands gives way, and an attack coming from Kazushige Kuboki. And he has Yuri Leitao with him. So that's the front 2, and they are about to get 5 riders. There's a couple riders, and now 3 from. Now it's a little confusing who is with the lead group here and who is being lapped. It's Thomas still on the front. Kuboki, Leitao, Thomas, Alex Vogel I think is still there, but I think Kuntz is among those who has been lapped. But just watch the board. At the moment, Kuntz is still on 23. And it's Yuri Leitao off the front. He's starting to pick up the points as the laps count down. 15 to go. And it is Akil Campbell and Daniel Christa of Romania judged to have dropped laps. And Leitao, as the laps tick down, his points tick up, pardon me. Kuboki and Thomas leading the chase. Behind them is Hashimoto, Van Schip, and that lapped rider from Romania. Leitao now catching another group of riders, and this race is just fractured all over the place. But just watch the rainbow bands. All you need to know is he is leading things right now, picking up points as he goes along. And there is confirmation now that Grant Kuntz has lost that 20 points that he picked up. You see him slip down to 3 points. Kuntz, Gustav Johansson, Alex Vogel, Berthold Driver, all losing 20. So now the leader, Benjamin Thomas, but that is quickly changing. As each lap goes by, the world champion, with the power of rainbows, picking up the points. And now it is tied, 8-8 for Thomas and Leitao. A number of riders there. Just keep picking them off. Thomas is about a quarter of a lap behind. And so Leitao, we will see 8 laps to go, and potentially 8 more points his way. But of course, once the catch is made and the pack reforms, then the commissaires have to readjust and see where the start is. And so now Ethan Hayter has been granted a point. And it's Hayter now at the front of the group. Thomas also with them. And so now as it reforms again, as Thomas picks up that point, as the group reforms again, might we start seeing Leitao getting points? Leitao going up now as it's something of a peloton again. Not everybody's on the same lap, but once there is that main group again, the points start going to the lead bunch of racers. So we are almost over here. And there are laps confirmed. Benjamin Thomas, Ethan Hayter. So as Leitao was picking up individual points, the two of them were off trying to get a lap. Anyway, Thomas and Hayter leading a very fractured field, and Tim Waffler of Austria also gaining a lap. And so there is the bell. And coming around for the final time. Just waiting for our commissaire to point, and it is going to Tour Dens, I believe, getting the last sprint point. So, unofficially, it's looking like Benjamin Thomas winning. Ethan Hayter in second, Tim Waffler in third, but the commissaires are meeting down there just to confirm their notes, because these races can get chaotic as riders get dropped and reabsorbed by the group and losing a lap, and so just going over some final notes, and we'll get the official results coming up shortly. So that is race 2. If you were watching last night, the next race is one you'll know. It's the elimination race, which is much more straightforward. So that's the story of the race. Early on, Grant Kuntz jumping out, picking up 20 points. He couldn't hold it. He was later lapped, and he lost those 20 points. And then Yuri Leitao started picking off a bunch of single points as the leader. Provisionally, that is our winner, Benjamin Thomas of France. Race taking just over 11 minutes. Looking at the results here, looks like he picked up a 5th place to go along with his 2nd from the scratch race. So as these men file off, our women's individual sprinters come back for a decider. Here we are after 2 races, 3 men atop the standings: Thomas, Hayter, Kuboki, and then Arango, Waffler, Bibic, and Dens on 60. So very, very concentrated at the top. And when the points in the final race add to that standings, there's going to be a lot of moving around potentially. Commissaires still dotting the I's, crossing the T's, doing all their checking and rechecking of the paperwork, but the sprinters are coming back out. Les Andrews will be up along the fence. Hedy van de Wouw. This is the decider. Mathilde Gros awaits for gold. Daniela Gathiola awaits for the bronze medal race. And Van de Waal will lead things off. She was 6th at the European Championships. And once again, it's just going to be an absolutely loaded women's sprint field. Kelsey Mitchell, the defending Olympic champion, went out in the 1/8 finals earlier today. She qualified 2nd, but was beaten by one of the riders from Mexico. But the likes of Emma Finucane, Leah Friedrich, Emma Hinze, Sophie Capewell, all potentially lining up in Paris, along with the likes of Hedy Van de Waal, Aless Andrews, Mathilde Gros. It's going to be a tough one to handicap. It is Van de Waal, keeping an eye on her right shoulder. 2 laps to go. Not even looking in front of her. Tracking, marking, watching. Now out of the saddle. Andrews, a little more pressure in the pedals. She goes up high. Van de Waal defending. Aless Andrews trying to go over the top this time at the bell. She will dive around. The sprinter's lane is now open for her, and she will jump right in there. Van de Waal trying to defend and get back in there, but it's going to be Aless Andrews who will get to race for gold. Just going over the top at the bell. And Hedy Van de Waal took the first one, but could not seal the deal, and she will have to race Daniela Gathiola for bronze. But the Kiwi taking on the woman from France, and this was the moment. The bell goes, and Andrews over the top. I said she was going to go into the sprinter's lane, but she stayed above and then eventually came down, and Van de Waal was beaten. So the bronze medalist from the keirin from the last World Championships will race for a individual sprint gold medal later on. And now things are going to get very, very concentrated. Yes, you see that right. It's Madison time. Women's Madison, 120 laps. Teams of 2. Confusion just about assured. There will be riders all over the track. They did a qualifier this morning. Just to drop a few, is 15 kilometers in the qualifier. This one is 30, so 60 points, or 60 sprint points, or 60 laps versus 120 laps. There you have it. Sprint points every 10 laps, so there will be 12 sprints in total. The one at the end is worth double points. And you see same sort of rules apply there. Lapping the field plus 20 points. Losing a lap to the field, minus 20 points. Plenty of talent included in this race, including Katie Archibald riding for Great Britain, and Nia Evans. Jennifer Valente riding with Lily Williams for the United States. Micah van der Doen on the Netherlands side. Elisa Balsamo riding for Italy. And so anything can and will happen in this race. So the starting riders are on the start-finish side, the near side if you have my viewpoint, and their teammates are over on the far side. And so the race that in French is called L'Américaine, which is because of the great origins of this race in the United States. It is called the Madison, as it used to be run at Madison Square Gardens. Two big audiences, actually, once upon a time. Valente and Lily Williams, who rides for Human Powered Health, pardon me. Elisa Balsamo, the lead track rider, and Victoria Guazzini. Catherine de Klerk, Helene Hesters for Belgium. A year ago, it was Belgium winning gold, but that was a completely different team here in Milton. Shari Bossuet and Lotta Capecchi, who of course is busy winning just about everything else these days. There is Katie Archibald, Nia Evans with her. Archibald, a member of that team pursuit side yesterday, winning gold. Both the Great British side, both the riders are living around the Glasgow area. And we are being sent off. There is some confusion about the running order. I think they have to reform up here. Franziska Brause and Lena Charlotte Reisner of Germany. There's the Asian champion look. That's the Rakuten K-Dreams side, the trade team out of Japan. Looks kind of like the Rainbow Bands as world champions, but the stripes are a little bit more spread out. Rakuten K-Dreams, Maho Kakita and Tsuyaka Uchino. So, discussion going on amongst the commissaires. The one Dutch rider is not moving with the rest of the field. So, your guess is as good as mine right now. Now we're away. Are circulating again. Doesn't look like we were quite prepared. They were still sorting some things out from the last Omnium race. We will let you know when it looks like they're forming back up, but for now, the teammates are all riding side by side. And so, coming up, if my Madison explanation did not quite convince you yet, here comes a little more professional explanation. The explanation? The big exchange. They'll do the arm sling is done when the exchanges are being made, and as I mentioned, points for the top 4. Every 10 laps, double points on the end. You lap the field, you get 20 bonus points. And that sums it up. If you have most points once 120 laps are done, you win the race. And so we're going to see some good examples of the arm slings exchanging. And it's the ultimate in bike handling and trust in your teammate to get these done at pretty high speeds, and often teams have it timed, and if they hit it just right, they get it done on the sprint lap, so their relatively fresh teammate can swing in and sprint in for the points. So one thing that's been pointed out before, the arm sling is actually being stolen a little bit in the world of long track speed skating. They have an event called the Team Sprint, which is almost identical to track cycling's Team Sprint. But new this year, teams, when it's the second rider giving away to the third rider, they've done an arm sling now. And so the third skater comes in on an arm sling, and it looks very much like a Madison but on ice. And so the sport inspiring others. So I'll look at the Pikulik sisters from Human Powered Health Pro Cycling. They've just re-signed to new deals with that American-based squad. Canadian side, Ariane Bonhomme and Lily Plante. And the whistle goes. And the team staff are back out on the track. So I believe we are just about ready to go. So you'll note some of the teams have very bright helmets. Makes it very easy to spot your teammates. There's a look at the bright helmet on Katie Archibald right there. When you're looking for your teammate, it certainly helps. The French, men and women, they have these bright orange numbers, but they also have that distinctive jersey as European champions. But I think the almost neon orange stands out. Hong Kong, China, and Germany both have a sort of day glow highlighter yellow number. So if they're looking exclusively at the helmets, that might cause some confusion. But anything to make these exchanges easy and efficient as possible. The whistle goes. And this time, I believe we are go. We won't have that confirmed, though, until the pistol goes. And there you have it. There's a rider from Switzerland already off the back. We were still given the green light to go. And now they do all form up. And the teammates who will be largely riding above the blue line until it's their turn to swing in. The Americans are about to do an exchange right now. And they do it quite smoothly. And already all over the track here, as there's traffic, as exchanges are being made. And it wasn't really much of a serious attack. It's Lily Williams who just kind of went, we're not actually attacking, guys. We just happen to be at the front. And so the starts will pick up speed as they go, and then each time the sprint lap comes, the cat will really be amongst the pigeons, and it's going to be, let's just say, chaotic. And then usually there's a let-off after every sprint point, unless there are those teams who are pushing the tempo and actually going for a lap. For the moment, it's all the groups together. Switzerland about to make an exchange there, successfully pulling that off. Switzerland, Aline Seitz and Michelle Andres. At the front, it's the Netherlands right now. Micah Vanderdoen and Lisa Van Bell. There's a look at the Danes, Julie Leth and Emily de Dirksen, executing very nicely in exchange there. So it's the calm before the storm right now. As Rakuten K-Dreams goes to the front. is Tsuyaka Uchino. Italy right behind them. France doing an exchange with 2 laps to go before the first sprint point. It is now the Netherlands hitting the front. And it's Micah, no, it's not Micah van der Dun, it's Lisa Van Bell at the front. Now, as the bell goes for the first sprint, there they see the exchange executed just in time for the sprint. It's Micah van der Dun on the front for the Netherlands, but it's Rakuten K-Dreams coming around the outside. Maho Kakita coming over the right shoulder, and it is going to be very close for the first sprint. And the first one going to Team Rakuten K-Dreams. Netherlands second, Switzerland third, Italy picking up the single point. Our updated scoreboard there will go on the fly. There's another example of the exchanges there. Rakuten K-Dreams, the winner from Hong Kong a month ago, the same team, Uchino and Kakita. So they are certainly a team on form, and might they be a team that wears the rising sun in Paris in just a few months' time. It's always fun to explain this race to people who may not follow track cycling. They do what now? And you say yes, on a gear with no brakes, or on a bike with no brakes and 1 gear. And it is Germany on the front. That very yellow helmet. Franziska Brause and Lena Reisner. And it is the Americans. And the Danes moving to the front. France is right there as well in that Continental Champions jersey. And there is a crash down. And it is, looks like both riders from Belgium are down, as is a rider from Hong Kong, China. It looks like we are continuing. You always have to watch to see if they neutralize it or bring it back. And it's disastrous for the Belgians with both their riders involved. In a race like this, when a rider goes down, that at least their teammate can continue on. They do tend to get exhausted as the other teams make the exchanges, but both teammates went down, and now at the bell, Great Britain and France on the front. It is Nia Evans leading the way, just ahead of Valentine Fortin, but she is going to swing in Marion Borras. And it is Nia Evans from Great Britain taking full points. France, Italy, United States, 2, 3, and 4. And so, amid the chaos of a crash, the sprint came upon us. Looked like there was... And there is what happened to the Belgians. They just took each other out. They missed their hand sling, and the rider from Hong Kong, China, just an innocent bystander there. And it looked like Helene Hesters was back on her feet very quickly. Belgium is back in the race. Both the riders are there. And if you've ever crashed on your bike at this point in time, adrenaline is coursing through you, so any pain you're likely not feeling right away, but they will certainly be feeling that after the race. But chapeau to them for gritting through the pain and coming back in here. That was the example of the missed arm sling opportunity. It just kind of all went wrong. So at the moment, GB and Rakuten K-Dreams both on 5 points. Nobody's really gone for the lap. Nobody's gone out for a flyer yet. They've all been satisfied waiting for the sprint points. And at the front right now, we're counting down 4 laps to the next sprint point. It's Denmark on the front. Sometimes you move to the front just to set up that early arm sling. And there is Nia Evans, 33-year-old from Langbank in Scotland. It's in the Glasgow area. And the U.S. on the front, getting that arm sling done. It's Lily Williams leading the front for the U.S. Now, at the World Championships, Nia Evans actually did win the Worlds, but she teamed up with Eleanor Barker. And in a race like this where you want to find your teammate, it would not make sense to have one rider in the distinctive jersey and the other in the national team kit. So they are both wearing the GB ensemble as Italy hits the front. They're swinging in an exchange there right in time for the sprint, and Italy's going to pick up 5 points there. Elisa Balsamo. It's going to be close for second. Switzerland and Poland there, as were Rakuten K-Dreams. United States in 5th place. And Katie Archibald, watch out if she gets ahead of steam. But she's now just sort of in a bridge to nowhere there. And it's Italy with their 5 moving atop the leaderboard. And Archibald sort of spent a lot of time there looking to find Nia Evans, and they did swing in there, and Nia Evans is near the back of the pack. Once again, nobody really solidly on the attack. The Canadians are in danger of getting lapped here. There is Elisa Balsamo, a great Lidl Trek rider. Sprinter on the road. And she's now. Is this a commitment to an attack? Germany trying to chase. And it's certainly very strung out, but it looks like they responded to that attack early. And so Germany now leading the way. And it's Lena Reisner leading the way as Balsamo swings Vittoria Guazzini back in. But it's Germany, Italy, Great Britain, USA at the front, and Rakuten K-Dreams in 5th. And coming up down to 3 laps to go. We'll look back at Denmark. Julie Leth, Emily de Dirksen. We will start casting our gaze back towards the front. It is Team GB leading the way as they set things up for another sprint. And it's Nia Evans leading Jennifer Valente, the winner of the elimination last night. And down the track comes Archibald, right into the mix, and the U.S. are going to also try to execute an arm sling there. They transition. They do just that as Lily Williams is going to, looks like she's going to come into second, but it is GB picking up another 5 points. France coming in 3rd. You see the countries that have lost laps there, Hong Kong, China, and Canada, or the teams rather. And is this a committed group? It's a powerful trio, the United States, France, and Great Britain. Italy sort of stuck trying to chase, trying to get around some back markers, and this may be a committed move now. Italy sensing the urgency. And Italy sensing the urgency. They knew they wanted to respond. They have Poland right behind them as well. And so could 3 become 5? But it's the US, it's France, and it's Great Britain on the front right now.
Pressure on for the top 2 series. That's France
trying to find where the lead group is. There they are. That is certainly an elite trio. But now they're sort of, there's a look at Italy. Missing an arm sling. See, it can happen to the best of them. But it is still an elite group at the front, and there are some other teams getting caught and mixed up in the things here. But it is the US, and this is Lily Williams now deciding to push. Great Britain sensing the danger, dragging Poland and France right with them. But this is Valente. The US bronze medalists in the Omnium here last year on Nations Cup. Gold at the World Championships. Pardon me, my mistake. And it is still the US out in front. There is the bell. And they've swept up the US, and it's Great Britain trying to get another 5, but here comes Poland right over the shoulder. And GB Nia Evans just hanging on, the one half of the 2023 World Championship side. Swinging in now, Victoria Pikulik from her sister Daria. And Great Britain now leading the way on 15. Italy with 8. Poland, the US, France, Rakuten K-Dreams all with 6. And this is a replay of that sprint. Poland made it close, but just about the width of a tire. And it looks like this group is sort of consolidating here, as other teams have just kind of been shed. But the elite are there. Katie Archibald. And that is the red flag for Hong Kong, China. See the red flag for them, just letting them know Canada's also on that board, 12 and 20. Of course, the team from Hong Kong, victims of the crash earlier on, the 2 Belgian riders. But that looks like that's the end for them. But we will look back at the front. And it looks like now the teams are a bit of a holding pattern. A group is reformed. Not everybody is on the same lap. But we will ramp up the intensity shortly as the countdown continues to the next sprint point. Almost at the halfway mark of the race. 16 minutes into this one. It's Denmark at the front. But we know which teams are watching and waiting, and that one right there coming around the outside, Great Britain once again setting themselves up. And not to be outdone, France also taking a look. And now it is France and Great Britain setting things up for the sprint. The French make one final exchange. And Great Britain now lining one up, almost at top speed. That's how you execute. But right now it's France, Rakuten K-Dreams, and Great Britain settling the top 3. Looks like it will be Poland just beating Italy for the single point. Now the fractures have regrown in the group. And will this elite trio break away? Italy and Poland now facing the task of having to chase. Here's a look at Great Britain. They are the world champions, as I've mentioned, but only one of the riders here today actually won that race, so they don't want to wear different kits when a whole lot of this race is finding your teammate and getting that quality exchange in. And down to 57 laps to go at the moment. Great Britain has them atop the leaderboard. France in second, the European champions right behind the world champions. The Asian champions are in third. That was a look at them right there, the Rakuten K-Dream side. Kudos to Belgium still being in this race after both teammates were in a crash early on trying to execute an exchange. And teams are given free laps, so they haven't dropped 20 points, but they aren't just sitting on 0. They're the last team to be not lapped is Belgium. They're sitting in 9th right now on 0 points. And we're back into something of a chaotic situation with a whole lot of teams making exchanges. The US moves in front as Italy makes an exchange. And the teal helmet of Lily Williams, well, the United States, they're both in the teal. Looks like Valente is lining things up to potentially come into this. We are going to come around to get the bell, and as I mentioned, there is the US. Valente swings into action right in front of Czechia, who's actually down a lap, down 20 points. But they will come second in this sprint. It is Valente, the US, Czechia second, Germany third, and Great Britain, at least unofficially, picking up a single point. We'll just see if that all gets confirmed. And we are down to 50 laps to go. Reminder, the final sprint is worth double points on the line. That was a big 5 points for US. They jump right up into a tie with France, who were shut out of that last sprint. Two teams sitting on 11 points. And there is a crash, and it's Czechia going down. And again, it's both riders on the same team. They both appear to be okay. One rider is up on her feet. That is Petra Sevchikova and Gabriela Bartova. And here is a look. And once again, it's the arm sling gone wrong. It looked like it might have been the Polish rider getting a little too close. This should be a good angle of that. They both appear to be okay. They're both on their bikes. 46 laps to go. Relative détente in the main field as the bunch forms back up once again. And it looks like both the Czech riders will continue. A nice round of applause from the fans here in Milton. No time to draw breath, though, or rest on those laurels, any laurels anyway. It's down to 44, a couple sprints to go. And it is the team of Rakuten K-Dreams currently sitting in 4th. The winners a month ago. Setting things up at the front. France and the Netherlands right behind them. Italy in 4th right now, but there will be a lot of changing positions as we count down to the next sprint point. Never you mind, the team from Great Britain. They picked up 4 medals to start the day yesterday. To start the competition. And there is the bell, and it's France nicely into position there as they timed their exchange, and they have a gap And the Brits are trying to close, but they're not going to do it. It will be France picking up full points, Great Britain in second, Rakuten K-Dreams in third, and I believe the Netherlands jumping up into fourth. And just checking to see who's pressing on here. Nobody's really deciding to force the issue. As we count down, it's less and less likely that any team, single team, will try to go on the attack and pick up 20 points. There's confirmation. France, Great Britain, Rakuten K-Dreams, and the Netherlands. 5, 3, 2, and 1. So the current standings, Great Britain on 21, France on 16, and the US and Rakuten K-Dreams on 11. Down inside, 37 laps to go. 3 normal sprint points left, and then the finish line, which is double. As the Germans move to the front. Alina Reisner leading things for the moment, just ahead of the Swiss side. Pardon me, that's Franziska Brause leading things away, but the US, Belgium, all shaping up. Still plenty of time to move around before the next sprint point, only halfway there. Look at the French, the Italians. So Lily Williams of the US on the front right now. Keirin de Klerk of Belgium is just around there at the last lap. There is Elisa Balsamo, a dangerous rider to be sure, picking up the tempo. She has the US and Switzerland with her. Look for the absences. Great Britain has missed this one out potentially. Rakuten K-Dreams also not there. Keep an eye out for the French. They might have also missed this one. And so the US and Italy scheming a plot here, perhaps. And it's the Americans hitting the front. Italy trying to get up. Guazzini trying to get up the second sprint point, and it will be Jennifer Valente taking full points. Down to 30 laps to go. The US with a potentially valuable 5 points. And there is Lily Williams, the US, up into second now. Just keeping an eye out. Great Britain is still a little bit back there. It's still the US, Italy, and Switzerland near the front. Belgium got the single point for 4th place. And now Great Britain is closing back up. Rakuten K-Dreams is also there. France has also gotten back up. So they missed that one sprint point without too much damage done, but Great Britain's lead is now 5 points over the US. France is tied on 16 points, also with the US. We will count down inside 30 laps. That French side, they are wearing those distinctive jerseys because Boras and Fortin were the tandem that won the European Championships in Apeldoorn in the Netherlands in January. They beat out Belgium and Italy. The Italian side at those European Championships were the same as here. And Keirin de Klerk from Belgium was there, but she also was teamed with Lotte Kopecky. And we can imagine that the immensely talented Kopecky will be eyeing this among many other races in Paris in just a few months' time. 2 more normal sprint points to go. We count down to that one. Now it's the Netherlands leading things around. are currently in 8th on 4 points. Catching some back markers, Uzbekistan. They'd already lost 20 points. And it's Great Britain sizing things up. It's Archibald leading things around. 2 laps until the next sprint point. They will get the bell on the next lap. Now they've really ramped it up. Nia Evans leading around for Great Britain. France right behind them, then Poland, then the Netherlands. The US with some work to do. It's Lily Williams trying to chase. Realistically, they'll get just a single point, but it is Great Britain on course for another 5. And it is France. Looking like they will get in second, and indeed, Great Britain, France, Poland, and the Netherlands. 1 through 4. So that will be another rearrangement in the standings. GB with 5, France with 3, Poland 2, Netherlands 1. And there you have it. France now in second place all by themselves, 7 points back of Great Britain. Now France on the attack. I guess it may not be too late to try to go for a lap. After the sprint point where you really fracture the field, the French are saying, let's go. Who can stay with us? Marion Borras leading the way. And Great Britain trying to close it up. Urgency in the US. Williams closing up on Katie Archibald. Rakuten K-Dreams also fighting for their lives here a little bit. And you appreciate the effort by the French, but they go up onto the track. Valentine Fortin, once she goes up high, that sort of spells the end of her attack. And now all the big heads of state are there. The US, Great Britain, Rakuten K-Dreams, France. 1 normal sprint point to go, and then the double points. And what can happen in 15 laps? A whole lot. 2 big sprint points and a potential major rearranging of the leaderboard, always possible. So a little bit of slacking in the tempo. But at this point too, nearly 110 laps into this race, the legs are feeling it right now. It is Rakuten K-Dreams, the winner last month at the front. Suyaka Uchino just giving way, as I say that to Maho Kakita. Down to 13 to go. And it's Italy now. Vittoria Guazzini leading the way. A look at Nia Evans. And the bell, and Balsamo swings into action for the United States. It's Lily Williams, or it's Balsamo for Italy, pardon me. It's Lily Williams for the United States. Rakuten K-Dreams gonna get one final exchange to try to claim third. And it is Italy, but here comes Williams to try to make it close, but no, it will still be Italy and the US, and Rakuten K-Dreams, I think Great Britain up for a single point. And so comes another little reshuffling here. Great Britain on 27, US and France on 19. And if teams are tied, not that it really looks like it's possible for many, after the final sprint point, they'll do a count back, and it'll be where you finished on the line determines whether you win that tiebreaker. So 1 more sprint to go. 8 laps, double points on the line. So 5, 3, 2, and 1 times 2. For those of you not able to, 10, 6, 4, and 2. Still to come. And it's the US tied with France at the moment. 8 points back of Great Britain, but the attack comes from Germany, currently sitting on 2 points. And if you're Great Britain, you might be happy with some of these other teams going for the big points because it just takes them off the table. So even if Great Britain hangs out of the points. If France or the US aren't near the top, that's no problem for Team GB. But right now, it is Germany leading the way, but a whole lot will change in those 5 laps. And that is Franziska Brause leading the way. They have Belgium behind them, who will certainly be feeling the cuts and scrapes later on once the race is over. And it is those 2 in front right now. Great Britain, it's Katie Archibald just marshalling the front of the peloton, keeping an eye on things. They are more than comfortable with those 2 teams going for the sprint points. Of course, those lower teams want to move up and get as many qualification points for Paris, confidence boost, you name it. Switzerland sizing up a sprint for 3rd, and it's Belgium off the front. 2 laps to go. Belgium and Germany on pace to pick up the points, but France also closing things down, and that is a move that Great Britain has to mark. And so it is Great Britain getting Germany. Belgium, I don't know if they have it. Final lap of the race. Great Britain trying to finish this one off with an exclamation mark. Nia Evans bringing this one around. 10 more to the pile. Great Britain finishes things off. France in 2nd. Belgium and Denmark get the 3rd and 4th place points. But Britain, Nia Evans, the world champion, and Katie Archibald, the champion of, well, just about everything over the course of her career, creating a formidable pair. And they win here in Milton. Points, Great Britain, France, Belgium, and Denmark. And it's a 3rd gold medal of the weekend for Team GB. And Katie Archibald with her 2nd. France and the United States looking like they finish off the podium. So Great Britain at 37 points, finishing things off with 10 on that last sprint. France on 25, US on 19. Of course, we will let them readjust accordingly, but I don't think things will change much. And there's the incident early on with the Belgian riders missing the arm sling. That took out one of the riders from Hong Kong, China. And as we saw, well, several times today, Great Britain taking a sprint, taking maximum points on their way to a gold medal. US strong performance by Jennifer Valente and Lily Williams. And the French pair as well, finishing with a silver medal. Valentine Fortin and Marion Borras. But this was just putting their stamp on things, sealing their victory with another sprint point victory. And certainly a statement heading into this summer. This is the image that will remain heading into Paris, as they will not face each other internationally again. And so they go into France with an image of Great Britain victorious once again. Confirmation of the results: Great Britain 37, France 25, USA 19, Italy and Rakuten K-Dreams wrapping up the top 5. And now we go back to sprinting. So you can catch your breath, but this is heart in your throat stuff as well. For bronze, best of 3, of course, Daniela Gathiola of Mexico, Hedy van de Wouw of the Netherlands. Gathiola, of course, her sister Antonietta has also competed on Nations Cup for Mexico. She's not here this month, though. Gathiola also Pan Am individual sprint champion a week ago. That was in Los Angeles. Looks like there might be a quick pause here as our commissaire backs up right in front of the athletes again. He was just about ready to blow the whistle, but they are checking the track still for debris. That's where the Belgians went down. And so we'll throw some tape down as a temporary solution. They'll might also bring out the sandpaper, but still looking. And now we are good to go. Daniela Gathiola, 31 years old, originally from Culiacan in Sinaloa in northwestern Mexico, now calls Monterrey home. Hedy van de Wouw from Kaatsheuvel, southern part of the Netherlands. Van de Wouw. Let's see, it's track stand watch time. Not quite this time, but Van de Wouw was fourth in the sprint a month ago in Hong Kong. There, I think that counts. Judge's ruling. It's very close anyway. Might be as close as we get. So until we see true stillness. And there it is. Daniela Gathiola thought she might have drifted back a little bit, but the commissaire's right there, so that is fine. And so that, ladies and gentlemen, is your track stand. And so we can tick that one off. Anything else is gravy, but we got one track stand in this weekend, and so there will be a select few who will go home very happy. But it's Van de Wouw having, let's say, lost that track stand in front. Gathiola right in her slipstream. And they are on the bell. Gathiola right on the wheel. Now she launches. Van de Wouw reacts quickly out of the saddle. Gathiola trying to go around the outside. Van de Wouw still in that sprinters lane. Hedy van de Wouw, Daniela Gathiola, and it's Gathiola taking round one. And round one going to Daniela Gathiola of Mexico. Win the track stand, win the first sprint. She wanted to be in behind, and she was just tucked up as almost as close as you could be in the slipstream, pardon me. And then she was really in control there. She launched, she timed it right when she wanted to. And Van de Wouw, maybe a little bit slow to respond, but Gathiola with the momentum around the outside. 1-0, Mexico. You can always spot the commissaires around the track. The ubiquitous uniform, light blue shirt, and the khaki pants. Just actually still putting some tape at the scene of the other crash where Czechia went down. Seems they have indeed spotted perhaps some splinters coming up, and you saw in the track specifications it's wood our track, and so whenever crashes happen and chain rings and other parts dig into that track, there's always the chance to bring up splinters. There you see untreated Siberian spruce. And digging up splinters or finding splinters in your anatomy is a souvenir that no rider wants to bring home to their country. And so Alessa Andrews and Mathilde Gros await. Pretty solid crowd here in Milton. The side where I'm on with the start-finish line. Pretty full seating area. And of course there are various sponsor activations and concession stands, so a lot of people checking those out. And one final look. It looks like our commissaires are off the track, which is a good sign, and we will wait for it. Nope, thought we were going to hear the whistle. There it is. And we will have our riders coming back up shortly. It's Alessa Andrews in black. A 24-year-old. 3 Commonwealth Games gold medals to her name. That was 2022 in Birmingham. She took the sprint trio, individual sprint, keirin, team sprint. And also, more recently, 2023, coming away with a bronze medal from the World Championships in Glasgow. Part of those Super Worlds, the first Super Worlds in history that celebrated, well, just about everything bike related. So Andrews, the keirin world champion, bronze in the individual sprint, going up against the 2022 world champion in the sprint, Mathilde Gros.
To her left, she is the world champion from last year in Glasgow in the keirin.
Two 24-year-old cyclists. The present and the future, perhaps, of track sprinting. And now we get them away. Race 1 of 3. And it's Andrews who leading things around oh so slowly. We will see. Track stand watch is officially underway, at least for this stage. And neither of them seem particularly interested. Gros in Nations Cup this year. Silver in the sprint in Hong Kong. Bronze in Adelaide. Started in 3rd. Had a 2nd last month. Now hoping to finish on top. And she goes to the front. And she really hammers now. Alessa Andrews perhaps caught a little bit unawares. There is a gap. Mathilde Gros opening it up early. And at the bell, she already has a big lead. Andrews is trying to chase. At what point does she just give up the ghost, at least for race 1? She's closing a little bit, but nowhere near enough. And now she takes her foot off. And Mathilde Gros pulling a fast one in race number 1. We know the power that she has that time. Tactical savviness. She just went right over the top and did not look back. It was an early commit to it. And Andrews, by the time the bell rang, that was just about the ball game right there. So 1 foot, one hand rather, on the gold medal, but she's not done yet. She has to finish things off. And that is going to be a quick pause now from the sprinting. And you see on your screen on men's elimination in the Omnium. And there was a reshuffling by our commissaires after the last race, because for the longest time, when Yuri Leitao was off the front, picking up individual points, he ended up getting 9. And then the next thing you know, Benjamin Thomas and Ethan Hayter and Tim Voffler were given laps, the 20 points per lap. In the back of my mind, I was wondering, well, why didn't Yuri Leitao also get 20 points? He has now been given those 20 points, and so that means he actually finished second in the points race. Benjamin Thomas first on 29, Yuri Leitao second, also on 29. And then it was Ethan Hayter and Tim Voffler in third and fourth. So at this point, it is Benjamin Thomas leading the way on 70 and Kazushige Kuboki also on 70. And Leitao picked up a big 38 points for second place, but he's sitting in 11 because he only picked up 1 point in the scratch race. And so it's elimination time, and if you were with us last night or if you have ever watched track cycling, this is the one that even the lay person can kind of get. If you hadn't watched track cycling before, the elimination, straightforward. Don't watch the front, watch the back. Every 2 laps the bell will go. Every 2 laps will be an elimination race, or an elimination sprint. And if you are the last over the line, you are eliminated. Is a look at Ethan Hayter, currently in 3rd place overall right now. Benjamin Thomas gets the spot right at the rail, right at the front, as our overall leader right now. Here's a look at Tour Dens, currently sitting in 5th from Belgium. European champion Aya Hashimoto currently sitting in 8th. A big reshuffling to come. There usually tends to be one of those riders near the front who gets surprised and is out early. And then that creates a big reshuffling in the standings. And riders want to be as close as they can to the front heading into the points race. Final race, Dylan Bibick, the Canadian, sitting in 4th right now, 10 points off of the lead. Alex Vogel currently down in 13th on 36 points. I see some thumbs up. Just checking everyone being in the right place. There we go. The whistle blast. Riders are off. As is always the case. And once everyone's in a good position, they'll come around, and this is the lap that they would get the gun. No elimination just yet. This would be gun lap, and then bell lap, and then first elimination. And there you go. And so now we form up, and at the front, it is the European champion, Ethan Hayter from Great Britain. But now we cast our gaze to the back of the race on the elimination lap. And right now, Bertold Driver of Hungary is sitting right at the back. He has a lane around the outside. He already, it's a tiring effort to do this for too long, but he will be safe. And at the back, it is the rider from Romania, Daniel Christa. who is the first to go. So all of the heads of state safely through one elimination. And once again on the bell, it's driver sitting in that dangerous place. Not an obvious lane to go around, and the lane up the inside is often fraught with danger. That's what he's trying, and this time he survives, as it will be clever Jose Martinez of Venezuela, who is eliminated. Martinez, the next to go, is Viviani right now at the front. Did not have the best elimination race yesterday, did Elia Viviani. But we do know what he is capable of. And it is the rider Gustav Johansson from Sweden moving around the outside. That leaves Yassine Chalel of Algeria in danger, but he does survive. And that is the winner of our scratch race. Arango will be slipping down the rankings. He was in a dream position after the first race, but now he is one of the early ones to go. And right now, there's about 3 riders sitting at the back. And again, it's our rider from Hungary, and I don't think his luck is with him anymore. It is Bertold Driver, the next to go. And at the bell, 3 riders, 4 riders abreast, right at the back. But I'm watching right in that inner lane, Yassine Chalel. He might get boxed in as riders around him go around the outside. Chalel has only so few options. But at the back, it's the rider from the US, it's Grant Kuntz. Not able to stick around. He was not able to finish the job. He had that opening around the outside, but it is a long way to go. Chalel again tucked in on the inside, but you are vulnerable when other riders go around the outside. And that's exactly what's happening right now with our rider from Indonesia, Bernard van Aert. And there is a crash, and it's Chalel who is down. We'll see what happens there. Yeah, not hearing anything just yet. And they have neutralized the race. And so, no eliminations for the time being. Doesn't appear to be any flat tires or anything. He is up on the bike and he is moving. And so it's not a full stop. They've just neutralized the race as Chalel will get back in, and here is a look at the incident. I'm not sure if there was a bump there or if he just got squeezed near that black line. So we will get things reformed. But Chalel, I think he's certainly feeling it. I think that might be the day for him, at least from the elimination. Tried to get back in, but when you crash like that, you're certainly feeling it. Makes an appeal to our commissaire, and still being neutralized here. He was close with Jan Willem van Schip of the Netherlands. He went down, and he's giving it another try, actually. Chalel, kudos to him. He tags back on, and we are off once again. But again, it's Chalel taking that inside line, leaving himself vulnerable to the washing machine effect around him, but he's shaking the head, and I think he's going to live to fight another day. Yassine Chalel of Algeria. Hopefully we'll see him fit to go in the points race, but for this moment, it is not going to fly. And now, looking at the back, it is Jan Willem van Schip the bright Oranje of the Netherlands. He's making a move. That's exposing Gustav Johansson of Sweden, who now has to burn a match to catch back up there. Look out on the inside, though. Could this be Eija Hashimoto going out? I think it is. In fact, it is Eija Hashimoto going out. So the Asian champion finished 8th in the Omnium a month ago in Hong Kong. So now we are down to 16 riders. Again, Gustav Johansson at the back. He is drifting a little too far back. I think he does enough. It is a rider from Kazakhstan, Ramis Dinmukamatov, the next to go. I just wonder how many more of these matches does Gustav Johansson have left to burn? Drifting again. He has to catch Akil Campbell. And also Yuri Leitau's right there too, the world champion. In a precarious situation, Johansson, the desperate maneuver up the inside, and he's just not able to do it there. So it is Gustav Johansson from Sweden on his way out. Down to 14. Right now it's the Canadian Dylan Bibic at the front, the man who won last night. Sitting in a very comfortable position. Benjamin Thomas also there. Tim Waffler of Austria. And look out, Yuri Leitau. Now having to follow right around, and he just sees Ethan Hayter, and he's getting on that wheel and getting out of danger. Akil Campbell pushing it late. I think he's done enough. It is, in fact, Bernard van Aert of Indonesia. Eliminated, and it was very close again for Elia Viviani. Akil Campbell pushed it, and I just wonder if he might now have trouble recovering to do another effort, because he's hanging right on the back. Viviani right in front of him. Akil Campbell, desperation, but he does not have anything left, and he will be the next to go. Viviani, but the bronze medalist in the Omnium from Tokyo, the gold medalist from Rio, putting a few riders between him and the very back of the pack. And it is Alex Vogel in trouble. He dives down the inside, hoping that that will lead to something, but it is Vogel now going. And there are some big names at the back. Bibic is there, Leitau is there. Viviani at the back, and he's looking at last night's elimination winner. But now Bibic goes around the outside. And Viviani going up the inside, but will the gate close for him? Right now it's Tour Dens of Belgium in trouble. And it's gonna be close. It's a very close ruling. And that is Viviani. Viviani will have to settle for 11th here in the elimination, down to 10. And Leitau, the rainbow bands. What power is left in that kit to try to get him around? Yuri Leitau trying to make a move around the outside, and he will just hang on, I believe. And it is Kasper Majewski of Poland. Pick up a 10th place. And now it's Jan Willem van Schip and the aforementioned Yuri Leitau fighting for their lives in this race. And Leitau going way up out wide. And Tour Dens is the odd man out now, sitting right at the back. And from Belgium, who raced Team Pursuit yesterday, and he admits defeat. Look still at Leitau. Also there is Kazushige Kuboki of Japan. And I don't know if there's an opening for Leitau this time. He has a wall of riders in front of him. He's trying to get around Waffler. It is going to take a Herculean effort now. Here comes Leitao trying to stay alive, and nope, not going to do it.
Rider number 40 from Portugal, Yuri Leitao, you are eliminated.
He played with fire there near the back for a solid while. Yuri Leitao should be 8th. And now we look back, and it's Tim Waffler near the back, and look who's with them. It's Benjamin Thomas. And one goes low, one goes high, and who wins it? I think it's Waffler who might be going. Indeed it is, 7th for Waffler here. Very select group of 6. And yesterday's elimination winner, Dylan Bibick, is pinged in on the inside there. Now he's sitting at the back. He did say yesterday in an interview he did like to live dangerously. He was scared a few times. And he said that's what the fans like though, and they certainly appreciate the effort here as Dylan Bibick goes last to first. It's very close for the elimination. And it's Tim Thorn-Teutenberg from Germany, finishing 6th. Jan Willem van Schip, he has been near the back for a good portion of this race, but staying alive. And now they're all strung out. This is giving everything they have left, and it is Kuboki trying to go around, and Thomas is the next to go, and so there might be a big change coming to the top of the leaderboard. The European champion Ethan Hayter of Great Britain, Jan Willem van Schip of the Netherlands, Kazushige Kuboki of Japan, and our elimination race winner yesterday, Dylan Bibick. And I think Bibick may be, in fact he is, there's nothing left, so he will finish 4th, down to 3. Van Schip, resilient effort from the man from the Netherlands. Kuboki, and the European champion, down to 3. And that's all that Jan Willem van Schip can handle. So he made a lot of effort at the back to stay alive, and the 29-year-old will pick up 3rd. And now the final match sprint. And the question usually is, who has that little bit left in reserve? Both of them have done very well staying near the front, although Hayter giving a little bit of a gap. So often you see someone who just ups the effort, and it's enough to just drop the rival, and Kuboki has nothing left, and it's going to be the defending European champion Ethan Hayter getting most of a victory lap. Ethan Hayter will take the elimination. Another 2nd place for Kazushige Kuboki, in addition to his 2nd from the scratch race. So, setting up quite the mouth-watering finale in the points race. You see, the longer you're at the front, the better you're in position. The more effort you make just trying to stay alive, there's just that little bit less reaction every time. And Leitao had to do a lot of fighting just to stay in. And then Jan Willem van Schip was also oftentimes near the back. And when it was down to 3, it was a resilient effort by that man. But he just did not have enough to match the 2 who were relatively fresh by the time it got down to that stage. But Kuboki knew early on, I don't have this, but I will see you in the points race. Ethan Hayter winning the elimination, and that moves him atop the leaderboard with 1 race still to go. Updated standings. Hayter and Kuboki on 108 points. But Hayter in first by virtue of winning that last race. Benjamin Thomas just 6 points adrift, and then Bibic in fourth on 94. And so when those points earned in the points race count to those numbers, there is going to be a whole lot of movement in that final race, which will be the last race of the evening. And now back to the women's sprint for the medals. For bronze, Daniela Gathiola up 1-0 on Hedy van der Waal. Van der Waal gold in the team sprint yesterday. Gathiola silver in the team sprint, and now individually a bronze medal on the line. And this time around it is van der Waal leading things out. If you'll remember, that's where we had our track stand last time around. It was in race number 1 here. And that was when Gathiola did not want to be at the front, and it came down to the ultimate stare down with van der Waal blinking first. And now I don't think she wants to be on the front this time either. She's going way up high, trying to entice Gathiola to come down and take her spot. Now who will take this track stand? The drama, the tension. And Gathiola moves in front, but she does not want to stay there. Someone start a clock on this one. I have not seen a track stand this long. And I think Hedy van der Waal may take this one, or is Gathiola able to stop her momentum? She is. Oh, it's brilliant. And van der Waal. She's done it this time, and Gathiola just says, okay, let's just go. But van der Waal quickly on it, and that gap is round up. All of that in the span of a lap, and now, after all of that, van der Waal is back on the front. And Gathiola is just her shadow right now. But van der Waal trying to go up high, trying to entice her down into that lane. And she's trying to do it again at the bell, trying to go high, trying to go low, and now it is Hedy van der Waal in the sprinter lane, and here comes Daniela Gathiola trying to get around the outside. Van der Waal has to defend, almost out of the sprinter lane there, but Gathiola will take it. 2 for 2. We'll lose Daniela Gathiola taking bronze. What a race. And some Mexican supporters in the audience. And just a marathon of a track stand. And after all of that, van der Waal ended up going back up in front anyway. Just a tactical heavyweight tilt. And she almost came out of that sprinter's lane right there. But Gathiola was undaunted. And we will see her on the podium for the second time this weekend with a bronze medal. So, with that away, the gold medal tilt returns. It's Mathilde Gros, who will hope to be France's favorite daughter later on this summer. Going up against Les Andrews. Gathiola seeing those Mexican supporters. Perhaps that little decisive push in the end. And now, Clo looking straight down. Les Andrews looking straight forward. Is Clo leading things out first. She committed to an early sprint in race number 1. Caught Andrews perhaps a little bit unawares. Just too slow of a reaction. Clo opened it up just before the lap and a half mark. And she just did not let up, and Andrews ended up finishing just over a second behind. She pushed, but then around the final turn opted to live to fight another day, saving it all for this one. Clo, of course, would like to end it right here. Andrews needs this to force the decider for gold. Just like the first race, no track stand from these two. Quite the different affair. Just shows how each sprint race has a life of its own different story. And at this stage, they are allowed to be on the blue band down there. The sprint is not opened up. And Clo opting to mark the move of Andrews. Perhaps Andrews trying to go up and down, trying to see if she can't get around this time. And Clo out of the saddle first. This one much closer. Andrews ready for it. And Andrews going up high. And now Mathilde Clo opening up the taps. Les Andrews right on her wheel. But Mathilde Clo with the lead right now. Andrews is making the move around the outside. She has a long way to go. Mathilde Clo, she's from the south of France. This summer, she hopes to be the toast of Paris. She takes it here in Milton. Mathilde Clo, first race of the World of the Nations Cup season was bronze. Runner-up last month, and she finishes the set here in Canada. The talent and the power we've known about. And she is looking like she might fulfill that immense promise. And she will go in to the Olympics this summer with the weight of a home nation on her shoulders. Mathilde Clo right into her home Olympics with a victory. There it is, Mathilde Clo, Les Andrews, Daniela Gathiola, the podium. Patty van der Wouw and Lauriane Genet of Canada wrapping up the top 5. And all these racers were in the morning session, which was not part of tonight's broadcast, obviously.
Next race along the track is going to be the final for places 7 through 12 in the men's keirin.
And the men's keirin coming back out. Race 4, 7th to 12th. Ryan Dodic of Canada, Santiago Ramirez of Colombia, Martin Czechman of Czechia, Jai Angstasawit of Thailand, Mateusz Rudik of Poland. Quincy Brown of Trinidad and Tobago. There is Rudik. He was on the podium here last year. Lost to Nicholas Paul in the sprint. The Durney is away. Off. Once again, the first lap, they are in their assigned positions, or not the assigned positions, where they were on the track, 1 through 6. And then once that first lap is done, they can start to move amongst themselves a little bit. And then the 3 laps, the Durney's off, and the racing will well and truly be on. Quincy Brown in front, Jai Angsuthasaewit from Adelaide, riding for Thailand. Mateusz Rudik of Poland. Dodik of Canada, Martin Czechman of Czechia, and Santiago Ramirez of Colombia. Everybody staying in their positions right now at this stage. A lot of looking around. It's not for the medals. Certainly can afford to try new things, be a little cavalier, see what works. Now the Durney's off. It's Brown leading. Still everybody looking around. Nobody's deciding to ratchet things up, make it a long sprint, that's for sure. Czechman now jumping around the outside, trying to go all the way from 5th to 1st. Rudik is there, as is Brown, and it's Rudik going around the outside. He'll jump into 1st, lap and a half to go. It's Rudik. Here comes the Canadian, Ryan Dodik. And ahead of Quincy Brown, it's Rudik still. But Ryan Dodik of Canada, he is fading a little bit. Quincy Brown coming back. It's Rudik holding off the field. Mateusz Rudik gonna ride this all the way to 7th. Ahead of Quincy Brown. It's going to be close for 9th between Dodik and Jai Angsuthasaewit. Average speed over 70 kilometers an hour. So, as you might have gathered, with the men's keirin today and the women's sprint going today, they will switch for tomorrow, and it will be the men's sprint and the women's keirin. But Czechman really opened it up. It was a rather staid affair in the early going, and then Dodik, the Canadian, tried to push. Just perhaps a little bit too early for him, and Rudik ended up getting the timing right. There are the results. Rudik, Quincy Brown, Jai Angsuthasaewit, Ryan Dodik, Santiago Ramirez, Martin Czechman. Now the race for gold. Nick Wamas of Canada, Jack Carlin of Great Britain, Mikhail Yakovlev of Israel, Jeffrey Hoogland, and Harry Lavrijsen, the dynamic duo of the Netherlands, and Nicholas Paul of Trinidad. Bronze last year in the keirin, gold in the individual sprint. We saw in that last race just how much power he has. What a race we have here. The Dutch riders so often teammates now. A little dynamic into the mix where they are racing for themselves. Wamas, big tall rider. One of the taller riders you'll see in the field. He's well over, in the imperial measurement, 6 feet, 2 meters metric, and it is Jeffrey Hoogland. record holder in the kilo. The Russian-born man riding for Israel. Another one who's well over 2 meters, not well over, he's over 2 meters tall, Mikhail Yakovlev. Harry Levraisen, European champion. Men who have won just about everything. Nicholas Paul. Go. Durney's coming around. And we are off. First of 3 laps. Riding up to it here for the medals. It should be noted, Mod Azizul Awang of Malaysia, who won the first keirin in Adelaide. Much of that Malaysian side has opted to do a training block in Melbourne, Australia. They already have their Olympic spots booked, and so they decided to train instead of do this one last thing. So as always, there's an interesting mix of who is going for a racing environment versus a training environment, but this is still a very, very stacked field. Nicholas Paul, the European champion, is there. Jeffrey Hochland, Harry Levraisen, and it's Jack Carlin of Great Britain. Moving up, Harry Levraisen slipping to 3rd in that European champions kit. He sees his teammate now upping the tempo. Hochland picking things up. Levraisen, is he opening it up now? Still 2 laps to go. This is a very, very long sprint, but Harry Levraisen out in front, being followed by his teammate. It's Dutch 1-2. Nick Wamas of Canada jumping up to 3rd. Right now, it is a Dutch duo at the front. It is Levraisen and Hochland. And it's a very close battle for 3rd. Good luck trying to catch 2 Dutch riders. And it is going to be Netherlands 1 and 2, and Jack Carlin of Great Britain getting up for 3rd. Harry Levraisen gold, Jeffrey Hochland silver, Jack Carlin picking up the bronze. And the Dutch teammates celebrating individual success now, and just the rest of the world can only be in awe of those 2 men these days. Paul tried to open things up, but once Harry Levraisen got to the front, it would take some sort of superhuman effort to get there. And Hochland is potentially capable of that, but he just was not able to do it. Jack Carlin jumping up to take bronze for Team GB. European champion now looking for Olympic gold after winning here in Milton. There's your top 10. Levraisen, Hochland just smashing it. And Carlin picking up 3rd. Paul and Wamas in 5th, Yakovlev in 6th. Looking at the schedule, and we actually do only have 1 more race to go for the evening, and it is the points race in the Omnium. But first, coming up in just a few minutes, we will have our first medal presentation of the evening, going to the women's Madison, and then there would have been a space for the deciders in the sprints, but neither of them need that. The victorious Harry Levraisen. 2 nights, 2 gold medals for that man. yet another Netherlands sprint gold medal on the men's side. That is their second medal in the sprints on the men's side. And as we always do here before our medal presentations over the course of this weekend, we do hear from our winners. And so Steve Fleck is down on the floor with our winners from the women's Madison.
I am with your women's Madison winners here at the 2024 Tissot UCI Track Nations Cup. Katie Archibald and Nia Evans from Great Britain. Many world championships and Olympic medals between these two. How did the race go for you two?
Yeah, it went really well, and that's why we're here talking to you. I'm pretty in love with this event. Everything that goes behind it, that you have to piece together to get on the start line with so many different teams, so many different tactics. So, yeah, it's always satisfying if you've the one that's made the puzzle the best.
How does this, Nia, fit into the plan for Paris this summer for you and the possible teaming up here with Katie?
Yeah, pretty well. We obviously went in with a plan. We executed it really well and came away with the result we wanted, so can't really ask for more, and it set us up nicely.
Congratulations to you two, your Madison champions here at the 2024 Tissot UCI Track Nations Cup in Milton, Ontario.
Thank you very much, Steve. Understated. Yeah, I guess it did go pretty well for that pair from Great Britain. But they are used to winning races. Katie Archibald, of course, that gold medal in the Madison in the 2020 Olympics with the great Laura Kenny, who, as of a few weeks ago, announced her retirement from track cycling. Nia Evans, the silver as part of the Great Britain team pursuit side in Tokyo. We call it the 2020 Olympics, but of course, as we all remember, it was held in 2021. It is now time for those medal ceremonies, or ceremony, singular, just one. We're gonna have everything else right at the end. We'll look at our victors, the two women who live in and around the Glasgow area. Bronze going to the United States. Yet another
the medals and gifts will be
accomplishment
presented by Andrew
for
Emery,
Jennifer
Senior
Valente.
Vice
Lily
President of
Williams,
Finance, Madame Homes
who was
Canada.
just
Les
over
médailles
in
et cadeaux
Europe as part of the
seront
Belgian
présentés
Classic season, riding for
Andrew
Human Powered
Emery,
Health.
Premier Vice-Président de Finance,
On the road.
Madame Homes Canada.
Quite, I'll say, quite a bit different riding on the cobbles in Belgium versus
the United States
on
of
the track,
America,
on the wood track
en troisième place,
here in North America.
représentant
But
les États-Unis.
just such incredibly skilled bike riders.
Jennifer
As the
Valente
Americans get their medal,
Lily
and as we've
Williams.
discovered once again this year, the prize, the reward, what have you, nice bag of coffee, which is a very popular item for cyclists, I'd imagine, and it won't take long before that disappears. As Lily Williams gets a gets a sniff, as one, if you know your coffee, you can probably appreciate the good scent of
In
that. I
second
can
place,
smell it from here.
representing France, en deuxième place, représentant la France,
then silver medal,
Valentine Fortin et
the
Marion
European champions.
Borras.
Fortin and Borras. European champions, of course, after an Olympic gold medal, a lot of teams, they do some sort of adornment in gold, whether it's helmet or some part of the bike. So those two would like to add a little bit of a different color paint in addition to those European champions jerseys. And once again,
Nia Evans and Katie Archibald.
the third gold medal from Great Britain this weekend. Sixth medal overall. I ran into a staff member for Britain. I said, you guys had a pretty good start yesterday, and he said, this is our dress rehearsal. And I think if you can look at 6 medals in 2 days and go,
One more time, let's hear it for
it's a
your
good start.
medalists. Encore
One more
une
day to
fois,
come.
on applaudit vos médaillés.
And the podium. Great Britain. They're doing the podium photo tonight. Yesterday, one of the teams opted for the solo effort, but they get all the podium members up there. Great Britain, France, and the United States. And then the gold medalists are sticking around for the victor's photo. And just looking down to see what's to come, but we'll enjoy this look back from the Madison. Two supremely talented cyclists and that British team. If you're looking for favorites in Paris, you would have to include the Brits among them. As you can see, one more race in the men's Omnium. It is the points race. 4th of 4. And the riders are starting to make their way up onto the track now. And as I mentioned earlier, just to reiterate, the previous 3 races, the points were assigned based on how you finished in that individual race. Here, in the points race, same sort of situation where there's a sprint every 10 laps, and then there's double points on the line, and then there's 20 points given if you gain a lap, 20 points lost if you lose a lap. The difference is those points count to the overall standings. And so that means like when it's a close field like this, as it usually is in a men's Omnium, the results are pretty darn close. It means for excitement galore in the points race. And at the moment, as we head into the points race, as the riders get on, it's a tie atop the leaderboard. Ethan Hayter of Great Britain and Kazushige Kuboki of Japan. Benjamin Tomat 6 points back. Dylan Bibick of Canada a further 8 points down on 94. And so, give or take 1 or 2 sprints, that whole standing could be completely changed. And so I say this, buckle up. 100 laps. It looks like rider from Algeria, Yassine Chalel, who crashed in the elimination, is on his bike. He's fit to at least give it an effort. Always appreciate that. And there you have the specs. 25K, 100 laps, 10 sprints, 5, 3, 2, and 1. Double points on the line at the finish. 20 points for lapping the field, minus 20 for losing a lap. And as the riders get set up, they'll get into their, let's just call them grid spots. Here comes a bit of a video, explain more this points race. Here we go. 24 riders, 160 laps for the points race. So that's 25 in the Omnium, I believe. Anyway, 20 points for lapping the field. Sprint points every 10 laps. And the celebrating man in the rainbow jersey, yes, you win the most points, you win the race. However, this is the 4th of 4 races, and so all points earned in the overall in this race go to that overall standing. And so you can win the race, but you may not win the Omnium. It's just the dynamic of this sport that makes it so fun to watch. All right, so starting to form up. Our current leader, Ethan Hayter. By virtue of winning that last race, he sits atop the standings and he'll get that spot along the rail. On the inside will be Kazushige Kuboki as we work our way down through the field. quickly getting into their positions. The rider from Colombia, Orengo, he sits on 53 points. He's in 12th right now. He won the scratch race, remember, just didn't have a fantastic elimination race. There is the Canadian, the hometown boy. This is very much his home velodrome. Man inspired by watching track cycling here. Said, I want to do that. And sure enough, now he accepts the plaudits from the home crowd. He is the one perhaps inspiring the next generation. And Benjamin Thomas, what does he have left up his sleeve? Kazushige Kuboki has a pair of runner-up finishes here. That sets him in good stead. European champion. P1 right now. And as is always the case, first lap will just set things up, and then the gun will go, and then we will be underway. And it will be Kuboki leading things around. Hayter deciding, okay, now I want to hit the front. And now the wait begins. Where does the first attack come from? Who's going for it? Who will anyone try to pick up 20? If you're a racer near the back of the field and try to make an attack, try to pick up 20 points, your odds are pretty good because the leaders will be busy watching themselves, checking around to see who among their nearest rivals is going for things. But if you're at the back of the pack and in no danger to the men atop the leaderboard, they'll let you go. But there are so many battles within battles in this race. And Elia Viviani takes a quick pull, decides, nope, not for me. He's sitting in 15th right now. It's a very cagey opening. You see a lot of riders going up high. And as I was talking, it is one of the riders near the back, Bertolt Driver in 22nd, who took a bit of a push. Kasper Majewski. But look out, Benjamin Thomas is right there. And Tim Voffler right with them, who's sitting in 5th right now. And now Ethan Hayter is being pushed in to quickly draw attention to it. I don't think there's a lot of urgency in this attack. But if these 3 or 4, because they're being joined by Alex Vogel of Switzerland. So just saying, maybe if they decide to work together, something can happen. But Thomas and Voffler go up the track and up to save their powder, keep it dry for another part of the race. But that's allowed Hayter and Vogel with a little bit of a gap. There's not tons of organization on the chase. But it is a Hashimoto, the Asian champion, Bridgestone, 56 points in 10th place after race number 3. As we come down, 92 laps to go. The first sprint is just about at hand, and these 3 are already battling for it, and it's Ethan Hayter, the overall leader, on course for 5 points. And the race is on really for 4th right now. The top 3, only Hayter really near the top of the leaderboard, and he is going to get the first 5 points. And Vogel, Hashimoto, and we will see Dylan Bibick of Canada picking up a single point. So he closes that gap to Benjamin Thomas just a little bit. And now it's 8 riders off the front, and they have almost a straightaways lead. Bibick committed for a moment, but he's perhaps caught in 2 minds right now. And I think with the field closing, This lead pack are gonna wait for the most part, but Hayter presses on, but now he goes up high. And it looks like the reformation happens now. When all the riders go up high, there is always that opening for someone to dive down and really launch a committed attack. Didn't happen that time. Now everybody just doing it through and out right now. Hey, Hashimoto gave it a little bit of rope to go. Alex Vogel, another one, picked up 3 points, but that only moved him up to 57 in 11th place right now. And so those two off the front will not really trouble the leaderboard, even if they pick up a lap, at least not right now. And if I'm Ethan Hayter, and all these other riders lower down are picking up the big points on the sprint points, that is fine by me. Because now it's Viviani and Tim Thorn-Teutenberg trying to bridge across to make it 4 riders. And the response looks like it is being led by Hayter. So the catch just about made. And they go up high onto the bank, and that's really the white flag, at least for that attack. And then the games are afoot once again. And it looks like Yassine Chalel from Algeria, perhaps still feeling the after effects of the tumble that he took in elimination. Kudos to him for the effort, and it's another sprint point already. Tim Thorn-Teutenberg on the front. Hayter, Thomas, Kuboki. Kuboki's making a push, trying to get around Thomas. Up into third right now, it's Teutenberg on pace to pick up 5, or is it Kuboki? It's Kuboki, just ahead of Hayter. And Kazushige Kuboki picking up 5. Ethan Hayter picking up 3, Teutenberg 2, and Thomas 1. And so Thomas picks up that point that he lost to Bibic on the last sprint. So at the moment, Hayter's lead is 3. And then it's a further 10 points to Benjamin Thomas. Now comes the attack, Grant Kuntz. In the tempo race, he picked up 20 points and then lost it. And he is combining here with Kasper Majewski. Let's see if they can get into a bit of a team pursuit formation there. And the field is not immediately reacting, and they have about a straightaway. And it's Waffler leading the way. I don't expect Hayter to lead the chase. And he's somewhere in the middle of the field right now. And this duo, this is full commitment now. They're eyeing a lap. Majewski would jump up a few places. Kuntz would jump up into the top 10 if they make a full 20. Chalel trying to stay on with them. But everything hurts right now, especially at the end of the 4th race of the day. Now with 5 laps to go, there is also the big test. Do you want to just get the 20? Put them in the back pocket, or do you hang on, perhaps tempt fate that the field will catch you and go for that extra 5 points by taking the sprint? Get the sprint, get the lap, and it looks like they're just going to opt for getting the 20 points and putting them in the back pocket. 73 laps to go, and the catch is just about to be made, but there is a counterattack off the front. It's the riders from Slovakia and Hungary, so it's Bertold Driver from Hungary. There is the bell, pardon me, it's Romania, not Slovakia. It's Daniel Krista of Romania. So again, riders that won't really trouble the leaders. Ramis Dinmukamatov from Kazakhstan joining them, and these guys will race for the points. And it is going to be Dinmukamatov of Kazakhstan picking up 5 points. And then Daniel Krista of Romania And then Berthold Driver of Hungary. Tourdens of Belgium got up to pick up the single points. Now he's in 6th on 85 points, 1 point back of Tim Waffler. And so confirmation of the laps gained as well by Grant Kuntz and Kasper Majewski. Kuntz is up into 9th on 68 points. Majewski in 15th on 49. And it's Aya Hashimoto trying to bridge back to the lead trio, and no real response from the peloton. And they have about a half a lap's advantage. And at this stage, with 68 laps to go, 8 laps until the next sprint point, you would imagine there wouldn't be a huge response, but it's some of those riders lower down in the standings trying to preserve their position and leading a chase. And now it's Viviani, Vogel, and Akil Campbell of Trinidad and Tobago really leading the chase. That's strung out the field. Yuri Leitao also near the front. And Yassine Chalel getting the red flag there. He had to go through, the whole field had to go through a qualifier this morning. They did a points race qualifier just to get here. So it's a long day. So much respect for these riders who put their bodies through quite a bit to do this sport. It's 4 at the front now as Hashimoto joins them, but the gap is coming down. 4 laps until the next sprint. And it really looking like being the race between riders near the back trying to get up the standings a little bit. So there's so many races within the race, and all the leaders are just watching each other. But it's the 2 top ones right now who are sort of in between groups right there. Hayter and Kuboki, with Bibic and Thomas leading the charge. And so that gets the leaders back together. And as we come up to the bell, it looks like the breakaway is just about done, but we will see. Here comes the bell. Now things will really open up. It's Aya Hashimoto leading Daniel Christa. But here comes Benjamin Thomas. This is commitment to some kind of move. Thomas wants at least 5 points. No immediate reaction coming from any of the leaders. And Thomas, savvy move from the man from France. And I think he just wanted 5. Doesn't have, he's not eyeing a bigger attack, but great move from him. Thomas gets 5. Ramistin Mukamatov gets 3. Aya Hashimoto 2. Daniel Christa 1. And so Benjamin Thomas 5 points down now on Kazushige Kuboki. Another result like that where Thomas gets maximum points and Kuboki gets none, and well, we have a tie for silver medal right now. And just great move by Thomas. He just put some of the riders between him and the other riders, and when you get 5 and some of your closest rivals gets none, well, it goes without saying, it's a pretty good little effort there. And now at the front, Kuboki responding immediately. Yuri Leitao there. Hayter is also there. Jan Willem van Schip of the Netherlands. And now it's, now the story that's being told is a lot of the leaders. And Viviani dives down. He's currently in 16th, but wasn't full commitment there. Interesting to see how this race breathes, where it was some of the riders lower down near the front, and it all changes after the sprint. And a lot of the leaders near the top of the standings are back at the front, battling amongst themselves. Hayter just watching, keeping an eye on those around him. When you're at the front and you see someone making a move, you can almost decide, do I go or do I let them go? And he's more than happy watching Aya Hashimoto go. Bridgestone rider trying again. And it's still Hayter marshaling the field around. 3 laps to go until the next sprint. Now the games begin. Some riders look up, others looking around. It's all about positioning now, setting yourself up for that sprint. 53 coming down to 52 laps to go. Kuboki going to the front. And it's literally 1, 2, 4, all sitting right there. Benjamin Thomas, there he is right there too. 1, 2, 3, and 4 at the front as we hit the bell, and it's Bibic, the Canadian, leading this one around. Tim Waffler of Austria with him. Bibic trying to hold off the challenge. Thomas trying to launch an attack around the outside again to get 5 points, but Bibic is responding, and it will be the Canadian picking up a big 5 points. Very close for second. And it's Bibic with 5. Waffler and Kuboki really close there for second. I think Thomas held on for a point. And it is Bibic, Waffler, Kuboki, and Thomas. And so Bibic hits the century mark on 100 points. Thomas' single point keeps him at 9 points ahead of Bibic in a bronze medal position. And now some of the lower ranked riders, off they go. Bertold Driver, the bookmark has been placed currently for the leaders. Some of the other riders fighting for position. Come back once again to the 4. And it's Arango, the man who won the scratch race. Elia Viviani leading right now. 6 riders trying to break away. Tour Dens and Dylan Bibic are really pinning things back. As Bibic goes up high, 3 more, 4 more, 5 more. Well, now riders are now going for it as the catch is made. Vogel, Van Schip, bridge back up. Van Aert of Indonesia now going around. It is Van Aert and Jan-Willem van Schip launching a bit of an attack. And Jan-Willem van Schip is in 7th place. 20 points for him would move him up into 4th. And so a couple of the riders do need to watch this one. And they are managing things right now, but we are coming up again to another sprint point. Looks like they may just shut this one down. 43 laps to go. Gonna come up to 42, and then another sprint lap is coming up in just under 2 laps time, and it's Hayter, the European champion's distinctive jersey ahead of the world champions rainbow stripes. Yuri Leitao, there is the bell. It's Hayter. Thomas launching his attack around the outside. Kuboki trying to go with him. And it's Thomas and Kuboki, 1 and 2. And it looks like it's Benjamin Thomas who's going to come around and pick up another 5 points. Kazushige Kuboki, and Ethan Hayter, and then Yuri Leitao. 5, 3, 2, and 1. So what that does, once again, we have a tie for gold right now. Hayter and Kuboki, 118, 4 points ahead of Thomas. And Benjamin Thomas has 14 points on Dylan Bibic. And now Yuri Leitao, he's on 66 points in 10th place. This is full commitment to an attack, and the leaders are letting this one go, because even if he picks up 20 points, their positions aren't really in much danger just yet. Hayter now trying to turn the screws. Kuboki following, and Bibic also following. And it looks like Leitao is going to sneak up and grab 20 in pretty short order. I don't think he's going to wait for the sprint point with 6 laps to go until then. It's best to just get 20 points in the back pocket. That will move Yuri Leitao up to 86 points, provided he gets there. I won't say it until he gets it. I wonder if the look over the shoulder is to decide if whether he should slow down and wait for the sprint point. But I think with the tempo ratcheting back up in the peloton, it would be wise to just go get your 20. But now the peloton goes way up high, and I believe it's a foregone conclusion, but he's trying. He's trying to be savvy. I don't think he's pinning it as much as he was earlier. He also sees rider from Venezuela, Clever Martinez, closing down. And if he does pick up the 5 and then pick up the 20, it's a savvy move. And he's still looking. And if he pulls this off, well done to him. Leitao, that's a long time to be chasing the field, and so it's looking more likely like he's aiming for at least 5. And he was looking behind, I think, to see who's racing for the other points. And so there is the bell, and so Leitao is going to make the catch. So he'll get his 20, and he will get his 5, because now the field is just getting the bell. If I'm not mistaken, I'll wait for it. Or did he miss it? And indeed, they do give it to Viviani, Waffler, and Hayter, if I'm not mistaken. And so Leitao perhaps could have waited to... in the end, he timed it almost perfectly, but he jumped onto the back, and so he'll only get the 20. So it's not something to shake a stick at anyway, but came so close to getting 25. Anyway, Yuri Leitao's now on 86. He's up into 6th place. And even if he did get the extra 5, he would be up into 5th and still a distance behind Bibic in 4th anyway. But still, every point counts at this stage. And so I figured that when he got the bell first, he might have been locking himself into 5 and 20. But in the end, just the 20. And now we have to sort of pay attention to who else is chasing. And it looks like it is the American Grant Kuntz. Martinez of Venezuela, and I looked down at our commissar, and he does indeed make that indication. And I was right. It looks like they have now credited Yurt Leitao with 5 points as well. And so he is up into 5th. And so when he got the bell first, and so it doesn't matter that he caught the field on that lap, it's because they had not yet gotten the bell. And so that's sort of locked into the position. So Yuri Leitao does in fact get 25 points. So he is now on 91, and so now he is 9 points back of Dylan Bibic, the Canadian, for 4th. But it's a big expenditure of effort. But he's trying again. He is putting in a good representation for the Rainbow Stripes. Yuri Leitao off on the attack again, but there are still 2 men in front. Grant Kuntz of the United States has picked up 20 points. Akil Campbell has picked up 20 points, and Clever Martinez. That was that lead group earlier. And Leitao is now working with Tim Waffler. And now there is an urgent response, because suddenly if Yuri Leitao picks up 20 points, he is very close to a medal position. But the top points will go to the rider from Venezuela, Martinez, and Van Aert from Indonesia. And it's going to be 2 points for Tim Waffler and another 1 for Yuri Leitao. And it is going to be very close if these men actually get onto the back of the group, because now there are a lot of riders who might be feeling some pressure. The rainbow jersey giving something extra to Yuri Leitao. And we are already down to 19 laps to go. 2 more sprints, 1 more for the normal 5-3-2-1, and 1 for double points. So the field is now really getting fractured as some of the leaders really push the tempo. Leitao and Waffler, the catch looks less likely now. Of course, You have to determine where the peloton is if you are a commissaire. But the reaction's coming from Jan Willem van Schip of the Netherlands, currently in 9th. There's Benjamin Thomas, Kazushige Kuboki, Dylan Bibick, and Ethan Hayter. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 are now opting to close things back up on Leitao and Waffler. They have also given, pardon me, it was Arango who won the last sprint, and Van Aert in 2nd. And they've also gained a lap as well. So a good jump for them, and there's all sorts of riders gaining laps here. And so now things get complicated because Leitao has made it back on with Waffler. And is that ruled to be the peloton? Because the other 5 riders now are coming back up. Bibick, Hayter, Thomas, Kuboki, all now there. They have the pack in sight. This is where it all just gets very complicated. Because if Leitao picks up another 20 there, that's a big jump for him. I will let them sort it out. That's confirmation of the earlier lap gain for Van Aert and Arango. And what is considered the lead group for the sprints with 10 laps to go. This is just chaos as everybody's fighting for various positions. So many little battles taking place on the track right now. One more sprint to go. And that front 5, which had Hayter and Thomas and Kuboki and Bibick, did all make it back on to the back of the group. And so we'll see how the laps will be divvied out. Whether anyone does get the lap, because Leitao had also just gained potentially a lap. And so the results of that last sprint were given to Hayter, Thomas, Kuboki, and Bibick, that lead group of 4, 5, 3, 2, and 1. And so all to play for on the final sprint, and it's Ethan Hayter launching another attack, not leaving anything to chance. Double points are on the line. But he doesn't want to leave it to a sprint between him and Kazushige Kuboki. Hayter, 123, Kuboki on 120, then Thomas on 117. And Hayter looks like he is on his way to gold. And there we go. There is confirmation, points gained a lap. Bibick, Thomas, Kuboki, and Hayter. So it's all jumbled around a little bit. We'll get to that in just a minute. And so Hayter was not given a lot. I think things are going to be resorted here. So we will just watch the last sprint. We'll see our commissaires. He's pointing to the far side. And it's Thomas and Kuboki. And there is confirmation of 20 points for Hayter, and he's moved back atop the leaderboard. And we are down to 2 laps to go. It's Juri Leitao, a valiant effort in the points race, climbing back up the standings. And our commissaire points to Thomas, Kuboki, Van Schip, and Van Aert as the leaders, and the pack is also getting the bell now. And is Kazushige Kuboki on track to win the final sprint? And might that bring him an Omnium win? Kuboki picks up 10. Thomas, 6. And then it's Van Aert, 4. Well, they're giving Van Schip 4, pardon me. And Alex Vogel, 2. And so, if our leaderboard is correct, and I know they will consult, and so it's a difficult situation on our leaderboard right now. Kazushige Kuboki has won the Omnium, but they're going to sort some things out here, I'm sure. So Kuboki did win the final sprint, picking up 10 points. Thomas 6. They counted Jan Willem van Schip even though Bernard van Aert was in there. Let's see how this gets sorted out. A lot of discussions going on at the commissaires table. Here is a replay of the final sprint. It's Kuboki leading things out, Thomas in second. And it's Kuboki picking up the 10 points in the end. Accepting congratulations from Tim Thorn-Teutenberg of Germany. What a season Japan is. The Japanese riders have been having on Nations Cup. They picked up 10 medals combined. That's with the trade teams and the national team a month ago in Hong Kong. And we are still pending results confirmation. Still intense discussions going on. If things stand, Kuboki getting 10 points on the line would give him 150. Benjamin Thomas getting 6 would give him 143, tied with Ethan Hayter. And when it is tied, it's the spot on the finish line that decides things. And Thomas finishing second in that final sprint would give him the silver medal. And then Hayter in third, also on 143, Canadian Dylan Bibick, fourth on 121. But they're all waiting with bated breath, just like we are here to get things sorted out. Still to come, though, just would reminding you, we still have a few medal presentations still to come. First up will be for the men's keirin. There will be the women's sprint. And then however this podium ends up in the men's Omnium, that will wrap things up for day number 2 from here in Milton. Do not envy the work of the commissaires. Immense respect for what they have to do, trying to figure out order to that kind of chaos. Very grateful for the work they do. report that there are still intense discussions going on then. A lot of looking at clipboards, a lot of furrowed brows. Thank you for your patience through this, and if you've stuck around this long, we will get your result. And while we wait for final confirmation from the Omnium results, we will hear from our winner from the men's keirin. Down to Steve Fleck on the floor.
I am with 13-time world champion, 2-time Olympic champion in various sprint events, already a winner in the team sprint here at the 2024 Tissot UCI Track Nations Cup. Harry Levriesen, winner of the keirin, your second win here in Milton. Harry Levriesen, how does it feel?
Feels really good. I feel really good this weekend, and really happy how today went. Semi-final was a bit harder, and I still felt really strong for the final, so went early, and I could make it till the finish line. Really happy.
You'll be joined on the podium by Jeffrey Hoogland, the great 1-2 punch in sprinting once again from the Netherlands. You take this sprinting very seriously in Netherlands. How will this go over back home?
Yeah, I think we're making some good steps going into Paris, and happy to see we can both stand on the podium.
And what is the plan for Paris? Will you be contesting all of the sprint events in Paris this summer?
Yeah, team sprint, and keirin, and will be a long week in Paris, but yeah, I look forward to it.
Well, congratulations once again, Harry Levriesen, your keirin men's champion here at the 2024 Tissot UCI Track Nations Cup.
Thank you.
Well, shots fired across the bow for the rest of the world. Harry Levriesen will be going for the sprint Olympic treble. Sprint, keirin, and team sprint. And whenever that man jumps on a bike in a sprint event, you will have to consider him a favorite. But of course, his own teammate could be challenging him in at least the individual event. They'll team up and be favorites for the team sprint. Now they will get their medals. Two men from the Netherlands. They shared the top step a day ago in the team sprint, and it is only fitting that they go 1-2 in the first individual sprint. And giving out the medals is former Canadian Olympian, Olympic champion in kayak. Now he's in an arena of a different sort. Adam Van Koeverden is now a politician. He is a member of parliament for Milton. And it will be Jack Carlin getting the medal, getting the coffee. And now he has to go back home, go to the drawing board, and write atop the list how to beat the Dutch in the keirin.
Jeffrey Hoogland.
Jeffrey Hoogland, a kilo world record holder.
And in first place, representing the Netherlands, en première place, représentant les
With his
Pays-Bas,
second gold medal
Harry Levriesen.
in as many days. Harry Levriesen. Of course, the Olympics will have everyone there.
One more time, let's hear it for your medalists.
So, Kaya Ota from Japan, Shinji Nakano from Japan, Awang from Malaysia. And in a race like the keirin, anything can happen. There will be plenty of strong men looking to knock those men out of their favored positions. We'll move on to our next presentation. They are already down there. Just The commissaires an update, they are still discussing things. Interesting. And as we are just about to throw down for our next medal ceremony, and Steve Fleck happens to be down with the winner of the women's sprint, Mathilde Gros.
I am with the winner of the sprint competition here at the 2024 UCI Track Nations Cup, Mathilde Gros, former world champion. Mathilde, what was it like to win here, this particular event in Milton?
I am really happy to win today because I love this track. It was a beautiful moment with everyone, and yes, a long day, good day with a strong girl, so I am happy to finish with the gold medal with the other girls.
How does this factor in your preparations for this summer's home Olympic Games for you in Paris, France?
Yes, I am really excited because Olympic Games will be in Paris. I am really lucky to have Olympic Games at home. So it was the last race sprint tournament today, tomorrow keirin, and it will be the last race of this season before Paris. So it was a long season with a lot of race, and yes, after some break with holidays, and after here we go again.
Congratulations again, Mathilde Gros, and best wishes this summer in Paris.
Thank you so much.
Little break coming up, and then all eyes on the home Olympics. And Canada, of course, having hosted in 2010. Spoke with a number of athletes over the years about that experience, and a lot of them, it'll be the only chance they get to ever race a home Olympics. There is a certain extra element of pressure, of expectation, but also of excitement. And so Saint-Quentin-en-Yvelines, if Mathilde Gros crosses the line in a match sprint winning gold, that just might blow the roof off that place. So now they will get their medals. A couple of great sprints today. Daniela Gathiola of Mexico outfoxing Hedy van der Waal.
And Rico Della Casa, Vice President of the UCI and President
Couple
of
of
the UCI
track stands adding to the tension of that bronze medal race.
Rico Della Casa, vice-président de l'UCI et président de la commission piste de l'UCI. In third place, representing Mexico, en troisième
Best
place,
finish
représentant la Mexique,
in Nations Cup all season, having not cracked the top 10 in the previous two events, but of course a week ago winning the Pan American Championships. And is she on the ascendancy in time for this summer? Daniela Gathiola. On any day, there's a whole number of women who can come out on top.
Representing New Zealand, en deuxième place, représentant la Nouvelle-Zélande,
Elias Andrews getting a few more points, even though much of the New Zealand team is not here in the Nations Cup. New Zealand was in third, coming in the Nations Cup standings behind Australia and Great Britain. Great Britain with a whole fistful of medals this weekend, really adding to that advantage, especially with Australia not here. And she's just imagining now hearing her name with the Olympic rings behind her. And should she come out on top, that will be one of the most awe-inspiring editions of La Marseillaise that you might ever hear. That if that flag rises. I won't say if that flag rises in a cycling mad nation like France. Mathilde Gros, Elias Andrews, and Daniela Gathiola. And you know what? My standings have been updated in the men's Omnium, but I'm not going to say anything just yet. I will not.
Yeah, just a reminder, we still have one more medal ceremony coming up. Il nous reste encore une cérémonie protocolaire. hommes dans l'épreuve de Omnium.
Because it would be a big change if it's true.
Medal ceremony here. That would be the
Enjoying their moment. They're enjoying their moment. They see the camera. They're also up on the big screen here at the Madison National Cycling Center. They've been hard at work, virtually non-stop since the end of that points race. And there are unofficial results. And so that's what we saw at the end of the race. Preliminarily, we had Kazushige Kuboki atop the standings, but, I say but, our commissaires did give a late lap gain to Ethan Hayter. So that bumped him from 143 points to 163. That means Ethan Hayter of Great Britain wins the men's Omnium, 163 points. Kazushige Kuboki, the silver medal, with 150. And Benjamin Thomas of France takes bronze with 143. Canada's Dylan Bibick in fourth on 121. And Yuri Leitao did a yeoman's effort in that points race. He picked up 2 laps, he picked up a couple of sprint points, and that jumped him up to 112 points. And so, there is the Omnium winner. I believe that qualifies as a look of confusion, but I think it's all been sorted now. And so there he is. Oh, by the way, you won, sir. Ethan Hayter. Now he's all smiles. And Benjamin Thomas there. And he has to pop over, because when you win the race, or you win the Omnium in this case, you go get an interview. And so yes, the Ineos Grenadiers rider can in fact now celebrate Omnium victory. They were giving him a late lap, a late 20 points. And now he is down on the floor with Steve Fleck, and we will head down there now. Steve.
I am with the Omnium champion here at the 2024 Tissot UCI Track Nations Cup, Ethan Hayter from Great Britain, also the European champion in this particular discipline. Ethan, that took a while to sort out. Were you nervous that you might not have won the race?
No, I kind of knew in the end I'd taken that extra lap, but yeah, I was nervous in the race because it was really close between me, Tamara and Kuboki, and they were both a bit quicker than me in some of the sprints, to be honest, but luckily I just had the edge in the last 15 laps.
You won the Omnium World Championships in 22. As noted, you are the European champion. What are the plans for Paris this summer at the Olympic Games in this particular discipline, the Omnium?
Yeah, of course. Like most people, I hope to win the Omnium or take a medal, and really looking forward to it.
How are the legs feeling? Those were 4 hard races over just a couple of hours this evening. Are they feeling okay right now?
Yeah, they were actually getting better each race with as everyone else was kind of coming off a little bit, so yeah, good.
Congratulations to Ethan Hayter, and best wishes in Paris this summer at the Olympic Games.
Thanks a lot.
Medal in the Omnium here. He says he always had a feeling he knew the lap was coming. He also won the elimination race earlier on today. That's when he beat out Kuboki for first place. And it looks like all 3 men are now down there in the podium presentation coming up. The last one of the evening for the last one of the day. And a Benjamin Thomas, another French medal, another French possibility. Of course, though, they have potentially several options. Both the Brits and the French, and well, I guess Japan does too, have several options for these things. And it's Benjamin Thomas. The 28-year-old. He's from the Tarn region
The medal and
France.
gifts will
Getting
be
down into
presented
the
by
Carcassonne
Enrico
area. You're getting
Della
down
Casa,
close
Vice
to the
President
Pyrenees
of
in
the
southern,
UCI
kind of
and President
southwest
of the
France.
UCI Track Commission.
And he's
Les
another one
médailles
who,
cadeaux
anytime,
seront présentées par
particularly in a sport like
Enrico
cycling, if
Della
there's a
Casa,
French medal, if there's a French gold
vice-président
medal,
de l'UCI et
that's going to be
président de la
highlight
commission
viewing to
de
be
l'UCI.
sure to be replayed over and over again.
In third
in
place,
that home country.
representing France, en troisième place, représentant la France,
The Cofidis rider,
Benjamin Thomas.
Cofidis, pardon me. He did the Tour de France actually back in 2022, 53rd in the general classification. Former
In second
French
place,
time trial
representing
champion
Japan,
on the
en
road.
deuxième place, représentant le Japon, Kazushige Kuboki.
Kazushige Kuboki riding for the Rakuten K-Dreams team. He is 34. He is from Fukushima Prefecture, which
And in
is
first place,
just a little bit
representing Great Britain,
north of
en
Tokyo.
première place,
He also
représentant
does
la
race on the
Grande-Bretagne,
road as well. For
Ethan
Bridgestone Cycling has a
Hayter.
road outfit as well. Kuboki, silver in the scratch race at the World Championships last year. And then the winner, belatedly, but no less deservedly, Ethan Hayter of Great Britain. And yet another medal for Great Britain. 7 medals so far through 2 days. 4 of them are gold. And the podium picture. Hayter, Kuboki,
Un gros merci d'avoir
and
été
Thomas.
de partager votre soirée avec nous ce soir. On vous souhaite une très belle fin de soirée et on se reprend les courses demain matin à 10h. Si vous ne pourriez pas être parmi nous, vous pourriez
Some of these riders, of course,
voir
there's
toute
still
l'action,
the
à
Madison
Radio
still to
Canada,
come
si
for the
vous
endurance
connaissez
men. That
Thank you
will
so much
be
again for
tomorrow.
being here
Essentially
this
take
Saturday
today's
night
program
here in Milton with us.
and flip it. Tomorrow has the women's Omnium, women's Keirin, men's Sprint, men's Madison. Earlier start as well, if I'm not mistaken. We'll get that confirmed to you shortly. But that. And I just mentioned the Brits topping the medal tables. Let's take a look at that right now. Look at that, 4 gold, 1 silver, 2 bronze for Great Britain. The Netherlands really just a lot of gold, 4 medals total. Poland and Norway, each with a bronze medal. 11 different teams / countries coming away with podiums here in Milton. There is tomorrow's schedule. The women's Omnium gets us started. The men's sprint semis, women's, and then finals, of course. The keirin and that men's Madison. Look at that start time, 2 hours earlier than today. That is 4 o'clock Eastern time. Wherever you may be in the world, check your listings accordingly. And then some final medal ceremonies as well. So another memorable day here in Milton as we count down the final Nations Cup event before the Olympics. Teams refining their preparations, trying to get little bits of confidence over their opponents, bottling this feeling of victory or of getting onto the podium as we count down to the Olympics in Paris and Saint-Quentin-en-Yvelines. On behalf of the entire crew here in Milton, my name is Gavin Day. One more day tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Talk to you soon.